Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to both channels today. It's Tottenham Away Ole Ole, and it is, of course, the Spurs talk show. It's STEL and I. This is called Tottenham Takes 2. We did Tottenham Takes 1 a few months ago, and it's been a while, but we're back. We're back. STEL reached out to me about a week ago and said, Butler, the show's doing well, mate, but listen, it's becoming a bit of an echo chamber. Which was, I think, a side jab as to what I used to call Tottenham Away back in the day. And he goes, listen, you got a lot of sheeps and a lot of goats on that channel of yours. You need a couple of lions, bro. You need a couple of tigers. I said, well, who are they? And he went, I'm one. I went, oh, let's fucking do it. So that's what we're doing, and we decided to multi-stream. So we're gonna go from there. Stel, how are you, mate? Good to see you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. It's hot. It's summertime. It's different. It's my first summer not living in the UK ever. So so far so good.
Is it hotter over there? And is the heat more bearable than it is here? Like, is it humid or less humid or dry? What is it? What's it like over there?
Nah, look, it's always going to be worse in the UK because London, especially because it's not designed for hot weather. Whereas I've got the beach 5 minutes away. You can eat outdoors, no problem here, and it's air conditioning is built into pretty much every building. So yeah, it's definitely better.
Even in your barracks, you've got air conditioning in there, have you? Listen, bro. Listen, you have to get up.
Where'd you get that from? Where did you get that from? What is that?
You have to get up very early in the morning to catch me in bed, Stel, mate. I got it all, bro. Oh, this is like from 1980.
That's the remote control to your TV. The TV remote.
Listen, we've all got a little thing. I'm not sure how well it works, but we've all got a few things. We've got a thing or two about a thing or two. Listen, before we get going, guys.
Hold on. Have you actually got air conditioning then, or is it like if you bought kind of like a standalone box?
No, I've got air conditioning in all the bedrooms. Problem is that they were built by the people that owned our house or owned my house before I bought it, and the air conditioning unit, like the thing where all the air gets sucked in and gets pushed out from, they're supposed to be on the outside of the houses, right? Yeah. But the people that built mine built it in the garage, and the garage is underneath the main bedroom, and so if I'm in the office here and with the air conditioning on, by the time I go to bed, like, the heat that's in the garage is like, it's like a fucking sauna. So like, it's like you get a little, you give a little, you want a little bit of coolness here, but then you go to bed and it's like an extra 10 degrees hotter. So then you put the air conditioning on whilst you're going to sleep in that room. And then as soon as you turn it off, it's just like, you wake up in the middle of the night sweating. So I need to find a way to get someone who can somehow replumb it to move it outside. Anyway, so it's not perfect.
Let me give you a tip. Let me give you a tip.
Okay.
Half an hour, 20 minutes before you go to bed, put the air conditioning on full power in your bedroom, shut all the windows and doors. So when you go into the room before bed, it's like an ice box. Yeah. And then turn it off as you go to sleep, mate. It solves all your problems.
Yeah, but then you wait. Like I say, the problem is that then the heat that comes, because like if you ever stood outside an air conditioning unit, like the heat that bellows out of it, it's like it's ridiculous. It's like standing behind a bus, but that bus is exhausting its fumes into my garage, and the heat rises and it goes straight up into my bedroom. So it doesn't matter what I do; I can stay cold for 5 minutes, and then as soon as you turn it off, anyway. Listen, no one came here for. Let's get down to business, shall we?
Let's do half an hour on air conditioning unit.
Okay, well, we have to get Plumber on. We have to get a plumber, Flower. We'll get Flower on. We'll get James Flower on.
Where's James Flower? Come and talk.
Where is James Flower when you need him? Anyway, guys, listen, whichever channel you are on, whichever channel you've come in on, there's 400 people here already. Great to see everybody. Please make sure that you do the decent thing and that you subscribe to the other person. If you're here on the Spurs Talk Show, make sure you get over to Tottenham Away Ole Ole. The Stella, I will put the links for both channels in to the channel. Please get over and subscribe if you're from mine to Stel. And if you're from Stel's and you don't, despise me because of my Levy take, I'm sure we're going to get into it. Then come over and say hello to me at some point. Make sure you smash the like button on both channels. If you don't mind, Stel, I just got to do a quick plug for OK Jersey, 10% off. Going to okjersey.com, 10% off if you use Sean10 At checkout, you can get all of your latest and greatest football shirts and your old clobber and all that stuff. Just go a size or two up, depending on your the gift of your frame. Stel, where would you like to start, my man? Listen, you said that you wanted to come up. You said lions and tigers are absent and AWOL on my channel recently. Do you want to start at a friendly in a zone where we can probably find a middle ground, which is like the youth team? That's a big thing at the moment, isn't it? Or do you want to get straight in to the things that where we find?
I've come ready.
Oh,
I'll tell you where we'll start. Big shout out to everyone in the chat who is blocked from my channel, who has been vile, who is clearly here for one reason only, to just gun me down because they're banned from talking on my channel. Love you all, by the way.
Who's that?
Oh, there's actually too many to mention, Sean. No, there's two or three I can see. They're just there's a better way to live your weekend.
I'll tell you what.
There's a better way to live your weekend than consuming yourself with hate.
100%. Listen. If there's any of that stuff in the chat,
let them. I don't mind. Let them.
Can we give it? No, both ways, right? Both ways. This is it's banter, right? Like Stella and I, mates, we did the Spurs 5 thing. It's now Johnny's channel. Waiting for Johnny to pay us off. You know, I mean, fucking hell, the geezer can pay us off anytime he wants, but he's got enough money to go on fucking 2-week trips around fucking Scandinavia. Do you know what I mean, Johnny? Anytime you want, bro. I'm kidding, but guys, let's leave out the nastiness, right? We'll have a respectful conversation, little bit of chinwag, little bit of banter. But if there's anybody on my side, from my channel that is going to go after Stel, you know, I won't know whose side is on. So I
don't mind if they come for me because they're banned from speaking on my channel, and that's all that matters to me. So.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully, it's not going to be one of those sorts of shows anyway. We can have a
no, it won't be. It won't be.
So where do you want to start? You want to start in the friendly zone of the youth teammates? I think we got some middle ground here. I personally feel like I'm open-minded to this whole conversation. I've kind of gone a little bit probably towards you and your stance of like, how do we know if we don't try? But at the same time, I also can recognize that there's a lot of value in what we've done so far in selling some of these players that have never really played any time for Tottenham, especially the ones that were not through the youth academy. People like Vuskovic. Will Lanchy is a 50-50 for me because I actually genuinely think he's got something about him. But Vuskovic, people like Bergwall that might be on their way out, they're not really one of our own, even if they came in young. My contention is like, what happens if the next cab off the rank is one of our own, like a Luca Williams-Barnett, like a Mikey Moore, like one of these guys that are proper Yidos, proper Tottenham kids. But I'll let you sort of start there, mate. I mean, are you okay? Are you okay with the exodus, buddy, or are you fuming, or are you somewhere in between?
Let me start by saying this, okay? Been doing YouTube for 5 years. Levy out, Enoch out, last year's delegation. This player's good, this player's shit. Manager in, manager out. We've all had different views, opinions, whatever it may be over the last 5-6 years. If there's one thing I know, and I confidently say this, I know it better than anyone else I've listened to on YouTube, Spurs content creator, is grassroots football, youth football, and the academy system. I spent 12 years doing it. I know the academy director. I know the coaches at Spurs. I know how it functions. I know how it's transitioned since Simon Davies became the academy director instead of McDermott. I know my shit on this, right? Just like all of you know, Sean knows his stuff on finance, right? If it's finance, we better go to Sean. I know my shit on this. And what frustrates me, Sean, is 95%, maybe 99% of fans that talk about the academy, talk about the youth, they just don't know what they're saying. And the reason they don't, it's not because they're stupid. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the experience. They don't have the real life working practices. It's like chatting to an air hostess about flying the plane. She might know what plane it is. She might know what airport they've taken off from. You don't know how to fly. And this is kind of where I've been very frustrated for the last, especially 2 years with this whole conversation. Because what I hear too much is, he's shit. If he was good enough, he'd play for the first team. Academy's not good enough. It's just everyone slags off the academy because they haven't got a clue about it. And I'm talking the minutiae, the details, the nuts and bolts of it. I get it. I just want Spurs to make a decision.
Well, let me challenge you a little bit on that. I'm not challenging your knowledge of the academy. Well, I'm not challenging your knowledge of general academy football. But when it comes to your knowledge in the minutiae of Callum Olasasi or Mikey Moore, do you know any more than anybody else unless you've seen them play? You might know the process and the struggles, the temptations, all that stuff. You might have seen that stuff before. But in terms of the kind of intricacies of whether these particular players are good enough, do you know any more? I'm not saying you don't. I don't know. Do you go to the under-21 games? Do you talk to the academy guy that you know? Does he give you insights on these players that gives you a bit of an upper level of knowledge than the rest of us?
I speak to coaches. I speak to some parents whose kids are in the academy, some of whom I helped get in. And I also speak to other coaches at other clubs that interact with our club and their players play against us to get an unbiased view on our players. So the honest answer to your question is nobody ever really knows until that kid's given a proper chance, because that's the only time anyone truly knows if they're going to make it. Even the academy coaches and director, there's different levels of confidence, different levels of belief, different levels of risk that they would attach to each player progressing, but you never know for sure until that kid's given a proper run in the team. That's the only and that applies for almost every academy player except for just a standout wow talent like a Wayne Rooney. Mm-hmm. But they are.
Yeah, people were talking about Wayne Rooney when he was. I remember when he was 13, 14. People were talking about this. Everton have got this kid that's coming through. That's going to be.
They're elite.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You know, exception to the rule. I get it.
Yeah. Every player that plays in a football team comes through an academy. Every single player comes through an academy. So just to trash academies, especially our one, is ridiculous. And
well, but who's trashing it though? Because I'm not sure. Because I feel like
and YouTubers they. Well, first of all, the club.
What's one sec? Because I'm not sure where the sort of we need to set some sort of like level playing field here. Because for me, all I've seen recently is two divisions. I was like, it's been 3 weeks of like, I say bliss, but like of quiet time, peace time amongst Twitter and YouTube, where everybody has sort of like hushed their opinions on ownership and hushed their opinions on players, because for the first time ever, Tottenham have gone about a little bit of a different approach, which most people seem to be okay with. And we signed a few good players. No one really had a problem with any of these things. And then all of a sudden, the conversation that came up was, we started with Vuskovic, right? Then Bergvall was a part of the conversation. Then it was Will Lancashire. But then and suddenly everyone's at each other's throats again. And for me, I'm not sure, like, I don't know if it's trashing of the youth team that's coming up in conversation. It's more around either half the fan base is saying, like, we're selling everybody that, like, we spent 3 or 4 years waiting to see to come through. And then the other half are like, well, if they were good enough, they would have played already. So therefore, let's just trust the manager. I don't know if it's a trashing of everyone seems to either be not okay with selling players for 20 million quid or more than happy to do so. Which is either way, it's like a compliment, isn't it, to the youth team that you can sell players for 20 million?
Right. 2 things. Number 1, when we built this new stadium, the board directed the academy to focus on making money to provide revenue towards the stadium build. That's when our academy became more business than development of player for the first team. And 25% of the deposit that we put down to borrow, I think you can tell me 700-800 million that we borrowed, the 200 million deposit that we put down, 25% of that came from the academy. Since then, we seem to have stuck to that, where the academy is now an extension of the club to generate money to then go and put into...
Wait, sorry, you confused me there. Of the billion that we borrowed, 25% of the deposit, is that what you're saying? Like
50 million. We
50 million quid came from the academy, i.e. Ollie Winks and Sorry, Ollie Winks, Harry Winks and Ollie Skip. So is that what you're saying?
No, we sold them after the stadium was built. The deposit to borrow the money to build the stadium, the academy generated 25% of the deposit.
From selling who?
Loan deals, selling. Well, Cole Norton went for, I think it was 10 million. Kevin Wimmer, I think we sold him for 10 million as well. So
Cameron Carter's Vickers, those sorts of players. I don't know if he was old after as well. Maybe he was after. I can't remember.
50 million was generated from the academy.
Okay, fair enough. I've never heard that before. That's fair enough. I'll trust you. Go on, carry on with the point.
Yeah, 50 million. I heard this directly from the academy. They've got like an auditorium at Hotspur Way, and they do talks. And once in a while, we used to get invited there, and they explained to us that we've generated 25% of that deposit. And they showed the numbers. Okay. And since that day, we have remained, when I say we, I'm talking about the academy. The academy has remained a cash cow for the business. Now, where that money goes, whether it's hotels, players, I don't know. I don't have the paper.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing? Before you get into the detail, are you okay with that as a principal idea, or are you not okay with it?
I'm not okay with it when the mission statement of the football club for the academy, public mission statement, is this. Right? Tottenham Hotspur Academy exists to develop outstanding young people and footballers through the Spurs way, creating a pathway from youth football to the first team. Let me repeat. Creating a pathway from youth football to the first team while playing brave attacking football, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's not what we do. We don't do that. So the club is saying that's what the academy does. But the reality is we have now adopted the Chelsea model, which is don't worry if we don't develop players for the first team. Just make sure we generate money. And that's
right. Okay. Hold up though. But like Vodafone's mission statement would be something like connecting people all around the world. But no barriers to entry to communication, right? But in reality, their primary purpose is to make money. I don't know if there was a mission statement of the academy that was honest, and they said our desire is to find enough players that we can sell on to supplement first team purchases, and then also occasionally find a gold nugget, it wouldn't go down quite as well. So I don't know if it's your resentment towards that. But yeah, fine. But okay, mate. But like, what are we doing here? If you're expecting honesty out of a business, I think your expectations need to be changed.
But we're talking about kids here. We're not talking about selling pasta at Sainsbury's or mobile phones at Apple. We're talking about young kids that go into an institution aged 7, 8, 9, who are institutionalized and then become a commodity. That's not what the club is telling the parents. That's not what the club is telling the coaches. So
that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I have nothing against Tottenham copying the Chelsea model. But say that and be that. Stop this. We're going to sign this kid. We're going to sign that kid. We're going to develop this kid. And he's going to get a little taste in Europa. And he's going to get a little taste here. And then we go and spend 100 million on Gray, Bergvall, Odeberts. None of them have landed. And yet those academy kids, they don't get that same chance. Look, maybe, Sean, maybe I've got a bias because this is my background. This is what I did.
No, I'm not even going to.
Maybe I've got a bias. I can't watch players that I look at, and I speak to coaches, and I speak to coaches outside of Tottenham who all say to me, "You've got a player there," and we simply block the pathway by buying players that now takes away a spot from a potential academy kid. That's
okay. So who are the players that your connections, your relationships, whatever? Who are those players that you're referring to that we've let go or that we still have? That we've got a player that hasn't been given a chance. Who are those players?
Right now, I would say,
over the last, however long you go back as far as you want. The people that you know that have said Tottenham have got a really good player there that hasn't been given a chance. Either they're still here or they aren't. Who are we talking about?
So I would certainly say, what's the little lad who was at Burnley? He played in Portugal as well. I forgot his name.
Marcus Edwards.
Should never have let him go. And then when you look at the players we signed during the period that he went and played elsewhere, you're thinking he's better than them. Yet those players have come into the club. I think players like Brandon Austin should have been given a much better chance at Tottenham Hotspur.
The goalkeeper.
he should have been given a better chance. He should have been the number 2 at Tottenham. Why? Yet again, he's the number 3 again.
I genuinely, of all of the positions that I think, of all of the positions in the football, on a football pitch that I think is the most difficult to navigate, is the goalkeeper. Because every Premier League team can't afford to have someone that is anything other than exceptional as your number 1. And then when it comes to your number 2, you have like a really, really difficult. It's one of those, like you're playing like Russian roulette.
But where has it got us? Where has it got us? The last 6 years we have declined as a football club without using the academy kids. There is an argument to say some of these kids could have done a better job than what we've witnessed the last 5-6 years.
Sure, but yeah, that's like a straw man argument with all due respect. Still, like it doesn't mean ipso facto that had we used the kids, it would have been a better story. There's a million variables that are outside of that ball, and also it's Monday morning quarterbacking as well. Like had we gone into the last 2 seasons,
but we do know what it looks like without them, and it was terrible.
Yeah, of course, 100%. I'm not like I won't dispute that, but if you had gone into, let's say last January, we like just remember Matisse Tell. Right? I'm not going to like continue to bar on the Matisse Tell here. It's a boring conversation. But just as an example, forget my opinion on Matisse Tell for a second. Just on that scenario, remember the timeline of events as that Matisse Tell story was emerging January 2025. He was linked to us. Everyone was super excited. Mark Goldbridge was going. He's going to Tottenham, right? And then. Okay, but a lot of people were, right? Other fans, I remember Robbie Lyle from AFTV was saying, what the hell is going on that Tottenham are getting hold of Matisse Tell? Why didn't we? All of that stuff happened, right? Then it was, Tottenham fans were pissed off. Oh, he's only coming here on loan. He won't sign the contract. He won't do the permanent thing. It's all just to put, everyone was of the impression of that guy, right? Now, whether you think it worked out or otherwise is a moot point. Or maybe it isn't, it's not a moot point because maybe it shapes your argument down the line. But just as an example, as he was joining us, most people were excited. We were going through a shit show. Had we not done that and we decided to play Mikey Moore or keep Mikey Moore, and the argument was, we've got Mikey Moore, let's not worry about our predicament. And then Ornstein came out and said Tottenham pull out of the Matisse Tell story. He ends up going to Manchester United because Tottenham wanted to give Mikey Moore a chance. The meltdown in the fan base would have been apoplectic still. And there is PR and optics and things that have to be considered.
Look at the meltdown with Tell for the last 2 years. Look at that meltdown. So
of course, but again, that's after the fact.
Either way, there's a meltdown, right? Either way, there's a meltdown. So I would rather a meltdown giving the academy kids the chance to prove us wrong, rather than what we've done, which is to spend all this money on Yangs, Takais, Phillips, Grays, Tells, Odeberts, blocking the pathway for the kids and having a meltdown with that lot. I'd rather have a meltdown with some of our own in the hope that they can actually do a better job because we've coached them. And let me tell you something. Let me say something to you. The coaching at Tottenham is really, really good. Really good. We've got a very good coaching system right now, and it's been like that for the last 4 or 5 years. It was good before. It was more individualistic because they focused on developing a Bale, a Kane, that individual talent, whereas now it's developing the individual, but as a team throughout every age group, which is what a lot of us have been asking for. Well, we do it now. We do it. That's why the other day you saw the academy kids do quite well in the second half because they've been coached to play that way, the deserving way.
Sure. Absolutely. But let me ask you this, right? Like judging the academy against MK Dons.
Yeah, you can't. You
can't, right? And I don't think you can judge them on tomorrow morning's game against whoever it is, the Auckland team.
I agree.
Right? So then you kind of go, well, at what point do you get a real chance to see them? And if I don't know what level, even against Chelsea, I think the Chelsea game will be really competitive. So I think that's a good chance to see.
Unless you give them a proper run in the squad for a season, Sean. That's the truth.
Sure. But here's the other problem, the other predicament that you have to bake. I think I don't know whether this is you would agree with this or not. But managers that live on shelf lives that are incredibly short, right? I've seen managers be hired and fired in the time that my milk has turned in my fridge. It's mental. And those people are paid a lot of money and their job is on the line. And especially when Tottenham are in a scenario where they've been for the last couple of years where four of the last five managers have essentially had no time to bet anybody in. We're never in a situation where we're 3-0 up in a game like Jurgen Klopp was, right? And so they don't give a flying fuck about whether or not Mikey Moore's going to make it in 3 years if they don't know whether they're going to be at the club in 3 weeks, right? So to me, it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's like a catch-22. When you're a club that is struggling, how can a manager be really required or expected to roll the dice on kids that may or may not do it? And just quickly, you look at someone like Mikey Moore. Like the whole Tottenham fan base love this guy and think he's going to, because he's one of our own and he's more of a, he's a slightly more mature, older version of Luca Williams-Barnett that might also do it, might not. But I watched Mikey Moore play at Rangers and I wasn't impressed. And he was playing against Hibernian and Aberdeen, and he wasn't playing against Celtic and Hearts every week. I know he scored a couple of goals, but even in those games, he was anonymous for the most part. The Premier League's a different standard. And so this narrative of like, you don't know if you don't until you try, you could make the argument that you kind of do know because you've seen them try at different standards and different levels, and they haven't really spread their wings. I don't want to be cruel to Mikey Moore because he's a kid, but like I haven't seen anything to think that I want to see him on the bench for our left wing next season. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you agree with that or not?
So two things. First of all, at Tottenham, the academy doesn't believe that a player is truly ready to be playing regular first team football. It doesn't quite land until they're about 21. So Mikey Moore isn't at that age yet. Just to put some perspective on it. That's within the academy. They believe that 21 is that prime age of where a young player is now a young man, and that's the moment where we know. And funnily enough, who landed at 21? Harry Kane. Because when Harry Kane was 19, fans were slagging him off. He came on for a couple of games. What we doing? He went on a couple of loan spells, came back. Still, fans were very dubious. I remember this. Fans were very dubious about Harry Kane. But Soldado flopped. Adebayor was a mercenary. Poch was on his knees. He threw Harry Kane in. Last chance saloon. And look what Harry Kane became. And that was about 21. So I don't look at Mikey Moore now and Williams-Barnett now. I look at where are they going to be 2021. So that needs to be factored in.
On that basis, how many? If you're not waiting, if you're willing to wait between the 8 years of 18 to 21, then how many of our players that have been sold are you upset about being sold because they were 21 and hadn't been given a chance?
I'm not upset when Spurs sell a player and make money, right? I was one of the people that said, if you get 50 million for Vuskovic, you'd be bloody crazy to say no to that. Because there's no guarantee.
You were on board Vuskovic, yeah?
Yeah, because I was arguing this with Lubo. Lubo said, no, keep him because he might become a £100 million player one day. And I said, Lubo, there is zero guarantee he will be a £100 million player.
Sure.
But there is a guarantee we put 50 million in the coffers. That's the bet that I would take. Lancashire, I'm a little bit disappointed by, only because we've still got Solanke and Richie and this lot at the club. I don't know where we're going to go with the strikers, but I'd rather Lancashire gets a crack over those two. Look, Sean, where I'm at with it.
I don't necessarily agree. Over one of Richarlison for me, mate. Well, we'll come to that stuff.
We'll come on to it. Look, where I'm at with the academy is this, right? I'll set my stall up. This is where I'm at with it. I want Spurs to actually have a player pathway for the best kids in our academy. You can't go and dump all the academy kids in and say, right, show us what you got. Just bring one or two for a year. That's all I'm asking, just one or two. What I'd like Spurs to do is have a cultural change. Have a philosophy, but you're not going to have that philosophy unless the culture changes. Well, we do what some of the Spanish clubs do. We say, right, 70%, 75% of the squad we're going to buy. But we're going to have, out of the 25-man squad, you pick a number, 4, 6, 8, however many kids, they must be academy players. Whether they're 18, 19, 20, 21, they must be academy players. And what that does is this. It forces the manager to work with them. The manager knows what they've signed up for. And here's the best thing. If you're a top young football player and you've got Arsenal wants you, Tottenham wants you, Man City want you, whoever wants you, you're 8, 9, 10, 12, whatever age, and you know that if you go to Tottenham, 8 out of the 25 kids in the squad every year are going to be academy players. Which Premier League club are you going to go to? You're going to come to Tottenham because we become the most attractive club now to those youngsters if they want Premier League football. Because
maybe not, right? So there's another argument there.
Money comes into it as well. Money comes into it as well.
But also, if you
as a young football player, what you want more than anything, I want to play football, and this club, they have a pathway. They have a pathway because it's the philosophy of the club.
Sure, 100%, right? But on the other hand, and this is the conversation I was having with myself on an upload, and again trying to put out both sides of the argument. If you are like a 16-year-old that's looking for a move from insert any club there, and Tottenham come along and say, come to us, if the conversation is, will I get minutes at Tottenham, then the answer is no. Then you can make the argument, they'll say, well, why would I come to Tottenham? But then the counter to that is, well, because you get to play in the under-21 team where you are going to be noticed more than you would be if you were doing it at Hibernian under-21s, right? And until you're ready to go. And then we'll put you out on loan. And by the way, we don't stand in your way. Just like the way that Brighton have created a narrative within their first team, well, that's the state of their club, where they're at in the pecking order. You know, if Brighton continue to do that, where they'll buy a player, they haven't got the ability to make hundreds of millions of quid from commercial because they haven't got the stadium, they haven't got the draw, all that stuff. But so their way of making ends meet is they'll buy a talent for 20 million and they'll sell it for 80 or 100 million when the time is right, and they'll never stand in that player's way. That is a wonderful rationale for the next top talent from Europe to go to them, like a Vuskovic, who thinks I'm going to get my chance I'm not going to be cock-blocked by bigger names, bigger professionals, whatever. And then if I get to 100 million level, Brighton won't stand in my way. That same recipe can work at Tottenham as well. If you are saying, look, we will put you on the map, you'll get a chance to play football in the under-21s. We'll send you out on loan. And either you're good enough or you're not. But if you're not, you can see by looking at Lancashire, Tynan Thompson, Alfie Devine, insert whoever else there, that we won't stand in your way. We'll let you go. And you will be recognised in a higher echelon than you would do if you were playing football for, I don't know, the under-21s of Hull City or of Southend United or whatever else. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I agree with you in a principle that if you, in an ideal world, you could have a youth academy that does present two players a season that get a chance to play 5 or 10 games. But again, if Tottenham are in a situation where it's crunch time, either we're 6th trying to chase a Champions League spot, or we're 17th trying to protect our Premier League status, a manager isn't going to roll the dice and give 25 minutes or 30 minutes to a 17-year-old because it's an unknown. And that, to me, is a problem for a team like Tottenham. Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp had a wonderful repertoire of giving minutes to the likes of Harvey Elliott and all those sorts of guys. But he did it when they were 4-0 up in games and there was 20 minutes left and there was no risk to the overall result. Tottenham haven't been in that situation for about 3 or 4 years now.
Sure, we've been in the best situation to bring through the youngsters because there's no pressure on us to get top 4 because we've been shit. Let me just remind everyone, when Arsenal were in the mud and Arteta came in, they were finishing 8th, no Europe. They brought through, during that period, Joe Willock, Maitland Miles, Saka and Smith Rowe. 4 academy players all got dumped in. And what happened? Maitland Miles lasted a year or two. Mate, you don't quite cut it. Willock, this isn't for you either. Balogun as well, by the way, another one, Balogun. They all got shipped out. Smith Rowe lasted a bit longer, got a few injuries. In the end, they moved him on. Saka became a superstar. England international, Premier League winner. He's one of their star boys. But they gave all those kids a chance. One became the star. But they gave them that chance. Saka would never have made it.
If Arsenal were 2 points away from relegation, that he wouldn't have done that.
Sure, you're right. On that, I agree with you. In a relegation battle, because you're right, because De Zerbi came in and dumped all the kids and said, we're not staying up with the kids. I need experience.
Thomas Frank didn't play him either because he was under pressure from the word go because it was too big of a deal for him. He couldn't handle it.
But when Ange came in...
in Ange's 2 seasons, he was like, obviously, you're not going to do that shit when you're 8 wins out of 10 because it's too early in the season. But after that period... it was such a regression in form where we were losing every other game. and he was worried about his job. I can remember about 3 or 4 occasions where Tottenham were like in really healthy positions. And I remember doing watch-alongs saying, why don't you give one of the kids a chance? I think one of them was against Southampton where we were 4-0 up at half-time or 3-0 up at half-time. Do you remember that game? That was a scenario where you could have given a chance, right? But it was few and far between with Ange in his 2 seasons. It was absolutely impossible to do that under Thomas Frank or De Zerbi. And so you have to go all the way back to Mourinho or Conte to think, were there opportunities for them to do it? And Conte's a win-now manager. Conte's never going to fucking give a shit about kids. And Mourinho was only here for, 11 months or so? Or I don't know how long. I can't remember how long he was here for.
The best time to bring in youngsters is when the club resets because the pressure's off and the expectation is lower. Sir Alex Ferguson went to a broken Man United. Broken. What did he do? He brought through those famous 5 academy kids. Mm-hmm. Look what ended up happening, right? There was no guarantees they were all going to be good. Some were much better than others. For example, Giggs and Scholes were outstanding, right? But the point is, the pressure was off. Same with Arteta, the pressure was off. Right now, for me, the pressure is off us. I think for the next 2 years... So? Well, if we keep spending big money, no. The
pressure is massively on De Zerbi. But the pressure is on De Zerbi more than it was on Thomas Frank, in my opinion.
We'll speak about that. What I'm trying to say, Sean, is...
No,
I actually agree with what you've said. And we will talk about that. For me, if De Zerbi is really going to be here for 5 years, this is a proper project now that they're going to back, they're going to support, like they did with Klopp, like they did with Arteta, like they did with Fergie. If we are now going to be that, I'm all for it. This is the best time to bring through the youngsters. This is the time.
You mean from game week 1?
No, Sean. To integrate them over this 5-year process. Now's the time to.
Oh yeah, sure. If De Zerbi's here, and if De Zerbi gets himself in situations, I 100% concur with you. If De Zerbi is in a situation in game week 3. Right, where we're 3-0 up against, I've got no idea who we're playing in the early stages. Brentford's one of them. If we're in a situation where we're 3-0 up and the games, we got the 3 points and we just thought, 1 million percent get Luca Williams-Barnett on. I mean, maybe that guy Hardy looked really handy. Junai Byfield. We'll talk about them. But before we move on to the next topic, we'll just finish off the ones that you actually look at because we have sold a few. I'm with you, Estelle, in terms of when the moment is right to do it.
Sean, I'll give you an example. I'd go one step further. You've got Van der Ven, you've got Van Heck, and you've got Senesi. 3 technical ball-playing footballers, especially Van Heck and Senesi, all for the De Zerbi system. Mm-hmm. Dragusin's gone. Romero's going to be gone. I don't think Danzo's technical. Spurs fans love him. They think he's great because he's got a good head on him and he throws his body in the line. I think playing out from the back, he's going to be clumsy. And I don't think he's the kind of player we should be having for what De Zerbi wants to do. I would make Hardy our 4th choice centre-back, Sean. I would do it. I'd say... Ahead of
Junai Byfield.
Look, from what I saw, I really like the look of Hardy.
Sorry. Just so let me clarify. You're advocating selling Romero and selling Danso and then bringing in a kid as the 4th choice.
I'm saying we're only going to play 1 game a week.
Yeah.
Are we going to use all 4 defenders? Most probably not on a regular.
Yeah, but we might have. We're going to have. We haven't fixed the injury. Although for what it's worth, I did get a message from my mate Gary, who is a consultant in the medical thing at Tottenham. I won't. He told me loads of stuff I can't share, but he basically, I'll summarize it by saying that we're making as big a signings in the medical team.
Yeah, they made announcements on socials that they've
no, I think there's other things. The announcements didn't line up with what he was saying. Some of the stuff that he's saying that we're doing in that world is really apparently it's really relieving. I don't know, it is what it is. But either way, the chances are we're going to have injuries. If what you're advocating is sell Romero, sell Danso, and then you have those 2 on the left, Van der Ven and Senesi that can battle it out. And then you have Van Hecker. But if Van Hecker does his ACL in game week 2, then you're saying that essentially we bring in Junai Byfield and Hardy.
One of them. Just one of them. Yeah.
Well, that to me is it's a massive. That's too risky. Too risky.
How do you think we developed Ledley King, Sean? How did Ledley King become who he was?
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. But again, this comes back to the overarching point: is that none of us, and that's why I asked you the crucial point. You were saying that you know more than everybody else about youth team transitions, and I'll concede that you know far more. I don't know anything about fucking football in that regard, right? Do you actually know how good Hardy is?
Sean, hold on 1 second. Right? That can sound really, really arrogant, right? What I'm saying is, I understand the player pathway and the development process.
And I wasn't trying to push it onto you like it was an arrogant thing to say. I'm saying I concede that
you
do
know no academy player will ever fulfill their true potential unless they have regular football minutes. And the reason is because the match is the extension of the practice. So
right, but isn't the best way? I hear you, but unless you have a Wayne Rooney level that is 14, 15, that's scoring 25 goals at under 21 level.
Kane wasn't that at 16 or 18.
No, but Kane went out on loan for 3 years.
And
most of those you're advocating giving Junai Byfield first team minutes or Hardy first team minutes before he's even touched competitive football.
No, Sean, I wouldn't start them.
It goes I know, but if you're saying sell Danso and then Van Hecke gets a knee injury in game week 1, then you are starting one of them.
Danso can't play De Zerbi football. He's technically incompetent. He's a buffoon on the ball.
I disagree with that.
Sean, hold on a minute. Danso as a technical ball-playing, out-of-the-back footballer.
Yeah, but you don't need... But listen, the way that we've gone about our rebuild, mate...
If Danso was that good, why did we sign Van Hecke and Senesi ahead of him?
We've gone from, like...
Sean, answer that question. Why did we sign Van Hecke and Senesi if Danso was that good?
Well, Senesi is a left-sided centre-back, right? We haven't had any competition for Mickey van der Ven at all. Right, and then we had Ben Davies that had to come in. And by the way, we'll have to talk about him in a minute because I know you're not a fan of Ben Davies.
Why not start Danso? Why are we signing Van Hecke? Start Danso. He's so good.
Oh, because I know when I hear managers,
he's technically poor, Sean. He's poor.
No, because position is important, right? If you're a right footer playing on the left hand side, you close off especially in the central position.
Derby needs technical players. He needs.
Hang on. Yeah, but you can't tell me that even if hang on. Even if Van Hecke gets injured. Yeah. And Danso comes in. It's not like Tottenham suddenly have a lack of technicality, right? You've got Senesi, you've got Mickey van der Ven, you have Pedro Porro, you have
Senesi and Van der Ven. They're two left-sided.
No, but I'm saying even if you had to play Van der Ven and Danso, you've still got, or let's say you played Senesi in that environment, right? If that happened to Van Hecke, you would drop Van der Ven, maybe play Senesi because he'd be the technical player. Hang on a second. Right, you've still got technicality in Pedro Porro, in Senesi, in Fernandez, in Tonali.
Fernandez doesn't play at the back. I'm talking about playing out from the back. You would
prioritize Senesi in a world where Van Hecke got injured. You would say, well, sorry, Mickey, we need someone that's technical because Mickey van der Ven isn't technical, right? So you're only making the argument that one of those two is technical. If it happens to be that Van Hecke gets injured, then you just replace Van der Ven with Senesi and let Senesi take on the technical stuff because he's very technical.
I don't disagree with that, but Danso has been replaced by two centre backs in one window. They are ahead of it.
Danso hasn't been replaced by Senesi.
Danso. Okay, Sean. Right now, who's the fourth choice centre back at the club?
No, but it's 2 and 2. Like, it's left and right. There is a massive difference.
So, do you see a world where Danso starts ahead of the other three centre backs?
No, I see a world where Romero is being replaced by Van Hecke. So Van Hecke is our starting right-sided centre-back and Danso remains as our second-choice starting centre-back as it was last year. On the left, I see a situation where Van der Ven stays our first-choice centre-back and in certain games or in certain styles or in certain environments...
Okay, sure. All right, let me rephrase the question. Does Danso start for Spurs?
He doesn't start for Spurs if everyone's fit, no.
Why not?
Because Van Hecke is a better defender.
In what way?
In 75% of the metrics of being a defender, apart from aerial threats. But you can make the same argument. Like, does Senesi start ahead of Mickey van der Ven?
I'm going to dig deep here. I'm pushing back on you. What are those 75% metrics? What are you talking about? What are they?
Well, Van Hecke is a far better passing centre back. far better progressive player on ball. There you go. On ball stuff.
Exactly.
Van Hecker.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So
right. Who's better? Okay, let me push back on you. Who's better on the left-hand side on ball metrics, Senesi or Van der Ven?
On the ball, Senesi.
On ball. Right, but who's going to start? Who's going to start?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Mickey Van der Ven's going to start.
Hold on. I wouldn't count your chickens on that. But hold on. That's got nothing to do with Danzo, right?
No, it does. It does because it's a yin and a yang. In a world where Van Hecker gets injured, right? Then you would sit there and go, well, now we don't. Now if you play Van der Ven
is technically better than Danzo. Van der Ven is far more superior technically.
And Senesi is technically better than Van der Ven.
Right. So Danzo is the least.
Senesi. Doesn't mean you start Senesi.
But this is my point. Danzo is the least technical player of the defenders we've got. The only reason
you are not going to play in a world where Van Hecker gets injured, you are not going to play Van der Ven on the left and Senesi on the right.
Sure.
Because positional side is more important than technicality.
The only reason we've kept Danzo is because we're not going to sign 3 centre-backs in one window. That's the only reason he's here. He's technically incompetent. Great in the air, good at blocking and throwing his body in the line. He'd be brilliant.
There's this utility, mate. You need different profiles of players.
Do you know why he stood out last season? Because
if you're playing against Crystal Palace, who lump the ball in, or Brentford or Sunderland,
we're still going to play out from the back.
Sure. But if you were just to sit there and make the argument, who is the best centre-back to do defensive, off-the-ball things out of those 4 centre-backs? I'd make a strong argument that Danzo is a necessary option to consider in that way.
But that's not the philosophy. The philosophy of a De Zerbi team, like all possession-based teams, is keep the ball so they don't have it.
Yeah, fine, but you're making the argument that under De Zerbi's system that Danzo offers no value, and that's just absolutely it's a ridiculous thing to say.
No, what I'm saying is, in a De Zerbi team that plays out from the back, he's incompetent.
Yeah, but not all of the game's on the ball, mate.
He's technically error-ridden.
All we can expect is 60, 62, 63% against most teams will have the ball, right? But you still have 40% of the time you don't have the ball. To sit there and make the argument that Danzo is completely useless in a De Zerbi system, I think is a stretch.
I would rather, right, just me, and you can disagree. I'm sure most people will. I would bin Danzo and start building with the 4th choice centre-back as Hardy. It could be Byfield. I'm just saying Hardy. And over the next 3-4 years, I bet you Hardy becomes a really, really good player for Tottenham and progresses from 4th, maybe 1 step up. Because Senesi, he's 29. He's going to need replacing in 2-3 years' time. He's not going to have the pace. And this is a 5-year project. I think we need to introduce a youngster in ahead of untechnical players like Danzo. That's just my view, but I think most.
I think that's wild. I think it's wild for me. I think most fans have got
this emotional attachment with Danzo. No. We've got to keep Danzo because they can't see how. Do you know what, Sean? Did you watch?
You don't know. Hang on a second. Listen, we've been going for 15 minutes. We're going to have to move on to the other topics in a little while. But still, just quickly, like. Hardy's 18. Gino Byfield, I think, is just 17. Right?
I prefer Hardy, by the way. I do prefer Hardy.
Listen, for what it's worth, I was super impressed with Hardy in the game against MK Dons. I thought he looked fantastic. I wasn't even that aware of who he was. I'd heard his name, but I didn't know much about him. But I was like, well, who's this kid? Unbelievable. So I'm excited to see what happens. However,
to play that way. That's the way Spurs play.
That's fine. But it's a massive leap, bro, from the under-21s. Like Dane Scarlett smashed and bossed the under-21s 5-6 years ago, and he's gone on to flop in an unbelievable way, right? Before you can start making the assumption that because you can boss, I know it does, but you can't say sell Danzo and in a world where Van Hecker gets injured, you're not going to see Mickey Van der Ven and Senesi play left.
He's technically poor.
It doesn't work that way.
Danzo's technically poor. He's not a good footballer. He's not
neither of these 2 kids have ever been tested.
No, they're technically good. That
doesn't mean that they're technically good enough at that standard. You have to test them out when they're older.
We won't know that unless they're given the chance. And this is my point.
You'll get a better inkling before you give them the chance. You get a better inkling by sending them out to League One first. Like what happened with Jamie Donnelly.
I disagree.
Jamie Donnelly went to Leyton Orient, right?
Yeah.
And he smashed it. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then he went to the Championship and he wasn't played. Like no one rated him. He went to two different
by
clubs.
the way,
No one played him.
I think we've got this wrong, by the way. I think our loan system is flawed. I'll tell you why. I think what we should be doing is, and I don't understand why Tottenham don't do this. Maybe they do, but I haven't heard that we do. What I think we should do is, the 3 teams that get promoted into the Premier League, we should contact them and say, right, do you need some players for your squad? We've got some talented 18, 19-year-olds. Do you want them on a season loan? And put them into a Premier League setup, but where we know the coaching is going to be good. So right now, Coventry have come up. Frank Lampard is known for youth development. He's built a reputation of knowing the youth game. He'll know who Hardy is.
He doesn't want to put all of his eggs into coaching our player just to get us him to come back to us.
Sean, what I'm saying is, I would rather we loan our players to Premier League teams.
But if they're not going to play, if they don't play in the Championship, they're not going to play in the Premier League, right? Jamie Donnelly is a prime example of that. And if you watch when he came on the pitch in the MK fucking Dons, right? And it was MK Dons' fucking junior team in the second half, by the way.
Bro, it's a regression though, because what happens is our academy teams who are under 18s and under 21s, they play against Arsenal's under 21s, Man United's under 21s, Brighton's under 18s. They go into Europe and they play against Borussia Dortmund. They play against good teams in Europe. Those under 18 and under 21 teams are a better challenge than them going to a League 2 side. I'm sorry. The lower leagues are more physical.
Jamie Donnelly went to League One and he was a revelation in League One.
Yeah,
he was so much better than League One. He then gets his move to the Championship, played for 2 different teams in the Championship, and neither team gave him a fucking chance. Still, they didn't rate him.
But I'm not here to defend Donnelly.
I'm using him to exaggerate your point. You're saying skip all the loan system. Let's just trust that Byfield, Junior Byfield, and Hardy are good enough.
No, I'm saying skip the loan system for players that I can see technically suit De Zerbi's system better than what we've currently got in the squad.
So Donnelly's not a good. Donnelly's technical. He's slow as a coach, but he's technical.
I don't think Donnelly is cut out for a club like Tottenham. My opinion. I don't think he's cut out for it.
Well, I never jumped from Byfield and from.
I never mentioned Byfield. I think
Hardy. You mentioned Hardy. What have you seen from Hardy?
His composure on the ball at the back under pressure when being squeezed, his ability to play out from the back.
Game,
he's been he's been doing it at academy level. Sean, Simon Davies has completely changed the academy development. Every team plays the same way, and every team plays the way that De Zerbi's going to want to play. Our players, our academy's actually been coached for a manager like this. We've actually now got a manager, finally at Tottenham, that matches the ethos of the academy. We haven't had that. We haven't had that ever, Sean.
Sure,
we've never had that.
That's fine. I don't disagree with what you're saying, mate. Because you're doing this. Listen, I don't disagree with your theory in principle, but in practice, it's like an academic trying to explain why the markets work the way they do, right? No. And they say there's an efficient market hypothesis. In reality, every single fucking stockbroker reads that book and says, you don't understand how it really works. I'm not saying you don't, but the people that sit there and write fucking textbooks, they don't get how the market works in real time. It's different for me to sit there and look at Hardy and say he's technically gifted, or Junior Byfield, or Luca Williams-Barnett, or any of these kids. Cool. We can all see it. I agree. I agree in principle. But there is a gulf. It's like looking at a 14-year-old who's ready to take their GCSEs and they'll get an A star and going, do you know what? Let's put him straight into Cambridge and let's see if they get a first class. No, do your A levels first. Prove you got the next step, and then go and do that, and you'll become like a mathematician at fucking investment bank. Like it's just
But that next step isn't going on loan to a school that is run down with a rubbish head teacher that is nowhere near the level that you've been trained at. That's what's happening with our players. Look, Sean, 95%, maybe 98% of our academy players will never make it at Tottenham. It's just simply not possible, because they will never quite be at that level that we want. It's just the reality of the academy system, and that applies to most Premier League academies. Okay, that's just the reality of it. But there's that 1-2% that can cut it, Sean. Right?
Yeah, but you don't know what you don't know. No one knows whether Hardy, Junai Byfield, Luca Williams-Barnett, or
Correct.
Mikey Moore.
We don't know which one.
You can't figure that out on your own time.
Sean, let me finish.
Sean,
let me finish my point. Right? Do you agree? Do you agree that there's that 1-2% in our academy that could cut it at Tottenham?
Of course, sure.
Right. There is no pathway for that 1-2%, Sean. There is none. That pathway has been firmly shut. We have no philosophy, culture, progression plan, no mechanism for those 1 or 2% that might be the next Kane, that might be the next Ledley, to get into that first team.
That is a problem. That is a problem. That is a problem. But your solution to that problem is let 100% of that portfolio or pool of talent to have a go to figure out which of those 2% is going to make it. In the meantime, the first team have ambitions, and people like yourself, Stel, that have complained about the underperformance of the football club for the last 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 50 years, whatever. Like I would love to see what would happen if Tottenham failed at the same time as training these kids. I don't know whether you would be able to level up and go, well, I'm complaining about the ownership and their lack of ambition, lack of willingness, but at the same time, I'm happy that they're giving like talented kids that aren't necessarily proven. And when you give them the chance in the big moments, they fail. We end up underperforming. You then get back on the train of like ownership out.
We failed without them, Sean. We failed without them.
It doesn't mean that we wouldn't have failed with them.
But we will never know that because we don't give it a chance. That's the argument right there. We don't give it a chance. Yet we give everything.
Why can't you get a little bit closer to the knowledge of whether they will?
We've given everything a chance, Sean. We've given everything a chance at Tottenham, but the academy kids.
Well, hang on a second. But Luka Vuskovic went on loan and it worked. Right?
Hold on. Can I just make a quick separation here? Players that we sign into the club at 16, 17, although they're classed as our academy kids, I don't class them as
I know you don't have the same attachment to them, but it's the same principle. A 16-year-old was signed. He went out on loan. He went to Belgium or to Holland, wherever it went. He went to was it Czech Republic? Then he goes to Holland. Then he goes to Germany. He smashes it out of the park. Right, and then you can have the argument about whether or not we should have brought him back and gave him a chance, or whether 60 million quid or whatever we're going to get for him.
But he didn't want to stay. He didn't want to stay without first-team guarantees.
But why not? But like, so the pathway can present itself through proving yourself on loan at the standards in between.
We still didn't keep him. But we still didn't keep him. We sold him.
Either way, but it doesn't matter. My point being that like the gulf between
there's no player pathway at Tottenham, Sean. There is no player pathway. I've been saying this for 3 years. There is no player pathway at Tottenham. There is none. There is none. If there was a player pathway, did you see the left back that played the other day in the pre-season?
Kaya Martin, yeah, I thought he was really good, yeah. But he's actually not a left back, he's a centre midfielder, yeah.
Okay, but we played him at left back, right?
Yeah.
That done all right. We've signed Sousa. You've blocked his pathway. You've gone and spent 10 million on this random Brazilian kid. You've blocked the pathway for Carl Martin. This is my point. There is no player pathway. We have blocked it. Every little opportunity that presents itself where maybe we can give an academy kid a chance, we sign a player instead. There is no... For me, I think Tottenham should do one of two things. Just call the academy what it is, an extension of the football club, a subsidiary mini market of youth talent that we sell to raise money for the first team.
Well, that's okay too, though, right? Because you started the conversation by saying that
25
or 50% or whatever, 25% of the deposit was financed by the youth academy, right?
Right.
So what's the problem with that?
I never said there's a problem with that. But stop this shit, Tottenham Hotspur. Everyone that talks about the academy, oh, this player's good, he could get in, and all these moaning and groaning. Shut all that noise down and just come out and say what it is. We're copying the Chelsea model. Or
why do you need? Listen, as far as that goes, mate, that's corporate semantics, mate. That's corporate semantics. That's just like. Don't get if that's the basis of your frustration. It's corporate semantics, mate.
Are you there when they speak to the parents? When they say to the parents, sign these contracts for your kids?
But the parents of Tynan Thompson, are they upset that their kid's gone to Manchester United? Alfie Devine has got himself a first team move to a championship team. Like, what's the problem? If they're good enough, they're going to get their chance, right? It might not be at Tottenham, but it doesn't mean that their time at Tottenham was irrelevant or completely wasteful. Sean,
the point I'm making is this. We have the whole academy system. Every club set up when Abramovich came to Chelsea, he asked the question to the academy directors. The academy director. Why do we have an academy? And the academy director said to him, "It's so we can develop players for the first team." And Abramovich said to him, and I know this because I was at St George's Park. I was on a table with the late Ray Wilkins that used to play for Chelsea. God rest his soul. He's passed away. Great. He's Chelsea, but he's a great person to speak with, right? A gentleman, the old school kind of true gentleman of the game. And he was telling us this story. And Abramovich said, "Why are you developing players? I've got a checkbook. Just buy them. We don't need it. Shut the academy down." And then Ray Wilkins turned around with the Spurs, with the Chelsea hierarchy and said, "This would be a PR nightmare. It would be a disaster for Chelsea Football Club not to have an academy." So on that basis, he was persuaded to keep the academy, and they turned it into the business model that it is today. That's why Chelsea's academy became a business, because Abramovich never wanted it, because he never saw the point of it. Every other club, though, had an academy to develop players for the first team. We would not have Glenn Hoddle if it wasn't for the academy. We wouldn't have.
Here's where I'll meet you in the middle, Stel. Right? I don't disagree with you. Listen, on principle, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
I want to be honest about what the academy's for.
Listen, forget about fucking businesses being honest, mate.
No,
Come on, Stel. It is a business. It's a business, bro. What are we doing here?
The academy has become a business. It wasn't that.
Everything about a business is a business. It doesn't matter.
No, Sean, the academies will never stop.
Before you go buy a pair of fucking trainers, Stel, do you go and read the fucking mission statement of Nike? And then do you sit there and go, are they really behaving the way their mission statement says? Whilst they've got child labour in fucking China?
You're dealing with
a load of bollocks.
No, Sean. No. Hold on. No. The academy system was always set up as a pathway for players to get into first team football teams.
And they are getting into first team football teams, are they not? The ones that are good enough are. Maybe not Tottenham, but they are.
Maybe not Tottenham. And that's the point. Why? Why, Sean? Why not Tottenham?
Because if they're not... Well, first of all, I don't know, and I don't know if you know...
The pathway is blocked.
No,
there is no
maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe you definitely know more about the natural transition of kids that have got talent into professional football than I do.
When we sign Gray,
what you don't know about, hang on, one second, so let me finish the point. What you don't know about is whether Tynan Thompson realistically had the standard to be able to make it. And he actually had to look at the pathway in front of him and said, well, you've got Mikey Moore, who isn't getting any minutes, and he's ahead of me in the pathway. And then ahead of him, you've got Matisse Tell, who's only just turned 21, and Odebear, who can play on both sides, who's 22 or 23, and Xavi Simons, who can play off the left, that's 23 years old. And we're apparently trying to spend 80 million quid on fucking Savinho, which is a joke, by the way. So, like, Mikey Moore is the next cab off the rank to sit there and say, I don't want to fucking wait, right? And if so doing, so be it. As long as he gets his chance at first team football, whether it's through us or otherwise, in an ideal world, yeah, it would be lovely to have another Harry Kane that comes through our academy from 10 and becomes a superstar. But it doesn't happen very often for any club. It doesn't happen very often for any club.
Sean, we have been shit without the academy kids having a chance. I just wonder what would have happened in certain positions on the pitch if we gave those minutes to the academy kids instead to see what might have happened. It might have been the same.
Who in the last 5 years are you talking about?
Sean. Let me rephrase this, right? If we go and sign,
because you're making a statement.
I'm going to answer, Sean. I'm going to agree with you here. I'm going to partly agree with you, right? If we go and sign really good players in every position, right? Everyone we sign turns out to be, brilliant left winger, brilliant striker, brilliant number 6, brilliant left back, brilliant goalkeeper. And we go on and win the league, or we go and win trophies.
Which is what you've been asking for the last 5 years that I've known you.
Let me finish. None of us, not a single one of us, will have a complaint. How can you complain? I can't. I'll say, do you know what?
I think you'll find a way, still. I think you'll find a way.
No, Sean. Says the guy who wanted Ange to stay because he won us a trophy. Don't forget, I back success. I'm all for, it's all I want. All I want are trophies, right? I was in Bilbao. Why? I wanted us to win it, and I wanted to support my team to win it. If Spurs win the league, buying really, really good talent, mate, none of us can complain, and nobody will. Nobody will. No one will care about the academy anymore. That's the truth. However, every season that goes by, that I see a player in a position and I say, why is he in this team? He's not good enough. His numbers aren't good. Statistically, he's poor. Surely giving an academy kid a chance would have been better. And every year, Sean, any kid that plays in that position, for example.
Name me 5 players in the last few years that are in the under-21 team that should have played ahead of the first team players.
Right, let's go by the positions that they were crap.
Dane Scarlett. Should Dane Scarlett have got more time? Did Dane Scarlett have enough time at Tottenham Hotspur to prove himself? And did he fail? Did he fail on loan? He scored 25 goals when he was in the under-21s, right? And he was
last season, okay, I'll answer you. Last season, the entire attack was shit. I would have given Lancashire a chance last season, Sean. I would have given Lancashire.
He was on loan last season.
So I would have pulled him back in January when we were desperate. When we were desperate for attackers, we didn't sign one attacker in January. I would have pulled him back on loan and said, Lancashire, let's give you a crack. If it fails, you're not for us. If it works, at least we've solved a little problem at the club. It's things like that. Instead, we persist with Richie, who was shit. We persist with Solanke, who was busted.
Well, Solanke wasn't fit. Solanke wasn't available in the run-in.
Until who you rate, the output just isn't there. The goals weren't there.
Well, sorry. So actually, the output.
Moani, Sean, Moani.
Hang on. Let's get off the topic. Matisse Tell, who I rate and you think is the worst player since sliced bread, his output was better than like 90% of the players that we're linked with. So let's not go down the stats.
He's part of the problem.
Let's not go down the stats game.
No, he's part of the problem. He's part of the problem. There's a reason.
You wanted to sign Somerville and Matisse Tell stats.
No, I don't want Somerville. I don't want Somerville.
You wanted Elimin and Die, and as much as I like Elimin and Die, Matisse Tell stats are better than
I don't want Somerville. I don't want Somerville. I did a video on it. Check out my channel. I did a video saying he was only
anyway. Somerville's gone for 80 million quid. If Somerville is going for 80, then Matisse Tell is worth 100 million quid based on that. Let's not get out of control here.
You asked me a question. All
right, so who else? Will Lancashire.
Who else? I just gave you one. There's
Will Lancashire. Oh, I asked you for 5. Who else are you talking about?
We persisted with Moani. Every week the guy did nothing.
So who's the right winger that's in the youth academy or on loan that should have been brought back to play if you could have brought them back?
Okay, we might not have a player in the academy that can slot in, right? There are scenarios where we might not have that position in the academy.
You made a grandiose statement, Stel.
I just told you Lancashire.
Apart from Lancashire, who else?
I would have given Mikey Moore a crack on the left wing, seeing as the left wing was shit all season.
He was on loan at Rangers. You couldn't bring him home anyway.
Right. There's nothing I can do with the fact that they went on loan. There's nothing I can do about that. I would have kept him instead of loaning him.
Who could you replace?
You keep saying who? I'll give you 2 players. You keep saying who?
You could. You said a statement. In our running last year, we should have played other players than what we did. I'm saying who. You said Will Lancashire and Mikey Moore, both of whom were on loan that you couldn't bring home. So who was it that was in the junior team that could have played and could have made more of a difference?
Sean, that's not what I said. What I said was, I am tired of seeing players underperforming who aren't good enough for Tottenham, when we could have maybe given an academy player a chance instead. If Tonali is a sensation next season, there is no argument to give the academy kid a place. There is no argument because Tonali is far better than anything in the club, right? But when I see certain positions,
came in after the wingers that you're talking about, like Mikey Moore.
Moani came in at the end of August, didn't he?
Yeah, right. But Mikey Moore was already on loan to Rangers.
Why sign Moani? Why sign Moani? Just let Lancashire stay instead.
Well, Moani was a right winger and Lancashire is a striker, right? But Lancashire had already gone on loan.
But Moani plays a striker for us, though, didn't he?
But the reason why people are calling out Lancashire now for being someone that's worthwhile hanging around is because of what he did on loan at Oxford last season, which was an incredible performance. But if you'd asked the people that were vouching for, hold on a second, if you'd asked people that were vouching for Will Lancashire now, what did they think about Will Lancashire last summer? it would have been send him out on loan because he hadn't done anything before that.
The people that are vouching for Lancashire now and those that didn't last time, they are the 98% of fans that don't understand youth development and grassroots, which was said at the start of the show. If you spoke to the coaches at Tottenham, if you spoke to the people that actually trained him,
the coaches at Tottenham were clearly on board the decision still.
Yes, because the academy is broken in terms of the pathway. That's what this loops back to my argument. You have to take some risk, if not a big risk, to give an academy kid a chance. But what we prefer to do is spend 30 million to buy a risk that isn't working. That's
who?
Listen, I'm not convinced by Archie Gray. Fans love him. I'm not convinced by him.
How old is Archie Gray?
I don't know.
19, right? Just turned 19.
Yeah.
Right, so he's the same age as Hardy. He's the same age as Ola Stacey. He's 2 years younger than Will Lancashire. He's 3 years younger than Dane Scarlett. Come on, what are we doing here?
What do you mean what we do now?
I mean, Archie Gray is someone that is clearly ahead of the curve for his age relative to the guys in the first team. If Tottenham, listen, look,
Sure.
You might be right.
Archie Gray did not make Tottenham better. He did not make us better.
Sure, right? But
so why does he get a chance, but our academy kids don't?
Which academy kid is it that plays in the six that's supposed to be better than Archie Gray?
Archie Gray 6. He played centre back, right back. Archie Gray seems. I don't think anyone.
He's a versatile player. You know what? Versatility comes with a compromise, right? Because you're not a specialist in any position, people can pick holes in everything that you do. Because you're good enough to play a right back. You're good enough to do this. Could you ask Matisse Tell to play left back or right back? No. Could you ask Tonali to do that?
Why sign Gray then? Why sign Gray?
Because they obviously looked at Archie Gray and thought that he was ahead of the curve relative for his age. Same with Bergvall. And look, Bergvall has... Listen, Stel, let me make this point to you. Because we've been going for an hour and 10. We've got super chats waiting, and we haven't even got onto the things that are more... I thought this was going to be a cool conversation. It turned out to be an argument. Love it, by the way.
It's because you deep...
It's because of me, is it?
No, it's not because of you. But deep down, Sean, I don't think you're bothered about the academy, which is fine, by the way. It's not an issue. I don't think you're too fussed about it. Whereas for me, I am. I am fussed about it. So
I get it, but I don't think you've made a strong enough argument. Here's my feedback. I don't care as much about it. I haven't got as much skin in the game as you do. I haven't spent my life training kids, so I will concede that. I would also concede that you know far more about the process and the transition and the kind of the risks and the rewards and the conversation with parents and all of those things. I spoke to James Flower about it the other day. You and James, I don't know how well you know each other, mate, but you should have a conversation with him.
Me and James have spoken about it a lot.
James is the father of a fucking super talented kid, right? So he knows the kind of the things that, you know, I find it fascinating listening to him talk about it. At what point do you take your son's career seriously? He's at 14 and his kid is still smashing it at Norwich. Anyway, long story short, I don't have that insight. But what I can say is
a very, very, very respectable youth academy, by the way. In the lower leagues, it's one of the best.
And I would absolutely, it'd be amazing if Archie Flower, I think his name's Archie. Maybe
sounds like a footballer, Archie
or Alfie. Maybe it's Alfie. I'm not sure. Sorry, James, if you're watching. But I would love to see James's son smash it, right? But not just from like friendly perspective, but also from a ability to be able to understand the process. Because at some point, James, our friend, is going to have those conversations with his wife around: do we prioritize our son's career over his business and all those? So I don't understand any of that stuff, and it's fascinating. But at the end of the day, I don't think you presented an argument outside of your passion that supports the narrative that anybody that's currently in Tottenham's team should be given more minutes than they have. In the environment in which Tottenham's first team has participated over the last couple of years, I don't blame Ange Postecoglou for sitting there. Ange Postecoglou is a human being whose career's on the line, his job's on the line, and he's sitting there going, I'm about to get relegated, or I'm losing every game, or especially fucking Thomas Frank and Deserve.
That goes back to what I said.
Any of them give a flying fuck about Luca Williams-Barnett's career when they're not going to be in a job in 5 minutes' time?
This goes back to what I said half an hour ago. It starts at the top. Unless there is a cultural change, they cannot embed a philosophy of where they say a percentage of the squad must be academy. You know the Spanish.
I'm asking you out of ignorance. Is that even a thing anywhere else? Does Manchester City, does Pep Guardiola or the new fella?
In Europe, it is. In Europe, it is. In Europe, it is.
What? Where like
especially
someone
Spain
from the first team has to play 500 minutes in a season or something like that? Is that what you're suggesting? That's a European condition.
People wonder why the Spanish team is so goddamn good technically. It's because those kids, they know they've got a future in La Liga in those Spanish teams. Because in Spain, it's a rule. There must be a percentage of Spanish players. And a lot of the clubs, they take it upon themselves to say a percentage of our squad must be academy. So what that does is it forces the coaching to be better. It forces the recruitment to be better. And players know they've got a chance. The whole level is raised. In England, well, not England, in the Premier League, this isn't just a Tottenham problem, but I only care about Tottenham. Sure. We are failing. We are failing the academy players for the level we want them to be at. And we prefer to take risk on players that over the last 6 years have proven to let us down.
Fair enough, mate. Listen, but we've been going for an hour and 15 now, and we got to move on to other topics.
Back to air conditioning.
I haven't had a bead of sweat in the last couple of hours. I'm quite enjoying it. Listen, big up to everyone. Please don't forget, there's 1,000 people, there's 950 people or something like that. Please don't forget, guys, smash the like button on whichever channel you're on. Make sure you hit the subscribe on whichever channel you are on. Whichever channel you are on, make sure you go over to the other. I Am Spurs Talk Show, and Stel is Tottenham Away Ole Ole. I will, after this, when I give Stel the first crack on the next question, I'll put the links in. Please do make sure you subscribe to both sides. It's a good conversation. It's I like it. It's Lions tonight. Matt C says, wish we were delegated so we could have Winks and Skip again instead of Tonali and Fernandez. Would have sorted our midfield problems. Still, that's aimed at you, I think, mate.
I wanted relegation because I felt that's the way to force change at the top. Johnny, who was on the Spurs 5, he argued that almost getting relegated would scare the board into change. Both Johnny and I wanted the same outcome, but his approach to it has proven to be right. My approach has been wrong, but my outcome was the same as Johnny's. I don't know if things have changed yet because for me, I need to judge it in 3 years' time because this window we're seeing now needs to repeat for 3-4 years for me to say, yeah, they're really going for it. And this isn't just a little purple patch. So in 3 years' time, I'll be able to address this better. But listen, I'm happy to be wrong if ENIC start being what we've always wanted, a proper football club that puts football first. If ENIC become that and it didn't take relegation, mate, I'm not, I'm happy. I'm happy to accept my method was wrong.
Big up, Matt C. Thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Hull Spurs has put in 2 joules.
Is that you?
I don't know what the fuck that is. No idea what 2 joules are. That must be something that's on Stel's side because it's not something that's on. I don't know what joules are. I've never seen them before. He says 100. I don't know what that means. But big up to you, Hull Spurs. Big up to you, bro. No idea what the joules are. Why don't I have access to joules? And 2 Marks has put in 67 joules with 6-7 in there. I don't know what that is.
Could someone explain what these joules are, please?
Do you know what joules are? I've never seen them before. I've got no idea.
Thanks for the joules, guys.
Whatever the joules are, pick up the joules. Pick up the joules.
Spurs
also says, Sean just got tickets for Newcastle game. If you're going, love to meet up for a cheeky one. If it's the home game, I'll be there. If it's the away game, I doubt it, mate. Doubt it, bro. I went to Sunderland last year and I didn't even make the game. I got so drunk the night before. I spent the entire day in bed in a hotel literally opposite St James's Park. Yeah, but listen, if you're at the Newcastle game, mate, if it's a home game, I'll be there. Hull Spurs, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you, Bo. And Futures Bright is saying 2 good lads with 1 love for 4 One Love for the same thing. Beautiful. Yeah, listen. Me and STEL, it's a robust argument. Robust. We love to see it. Come on now.
No
Smash the
sheep
like.
tonight. No lambs tonight. I tell you.
No lamb. Hashtag no lambs. No lambs, no sheep. Big up to you. And Super Blaine, Super Spurs TV, big up to you, Blaine. Says, do either of you know the percentage of players who go on to the first team of their academy? It's only 13%. That's actually fucking a lot higher than I thought, to be honest. So this notion of pathways being blocked is a misnomer, in so much that all clubs in the Prem, less than 1 in 8 make it.
Now
I
go
think
and
it's a
look
lot less than that. When you say 13%, Blaine, I would say that's what they get. An appearance in the first team, because I think it's far lower than 13% that actually make it. Surely,
what Blaine has done here is put the average. Now bring up the data on Spurs, and I don't even think we're at 1%. I think we're at 0 point something, if that. So
it depends on what 13% represents, though. If 13% represents like
he says
1 minute of
first
football,
team of their academy, first team of their academy.
it goes on to the first team. But what does that mean? Trains with the first team, plays 1 minute of one game with the first team. What does it mean?
It's a pro contract. It's a pro first team contract. Whether you get the minutes is a different story, but
that's kind of irrelevant as well, though, right? Like a hell of a lot of players, like, of the people that get a pro contract, how many of them actually go on to play a minute for the first team? Not many either, right? It's a filtering process, isn't it? It's like shoveling gold. Like you put pay dirt in the top, you put thousands of pounds of pay dirt in, and a couple of nuggets come out. You know. Listen, big up to you, Blaine. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you, bro. Very, very generous, by the way. Super generous, Super Blaine. We love you, mate. We love you. And from what I saw from your text message last night, Blaine, life is good for you, bro. Life is very good. It's 3% at Spurs, apparently. 3% at Spurs.
It's not 3%. We have 2,000 academy kids right now. So 3% of that 2,000 is what? Sorry, not 2,000. What am I talking about? Sorry, hold on. I'll tell you the numbers now. 1 minute. I'll tell you now.
An appearance was his point. An appearance. Okay.
So about 250 kids on contract. 3% of 250. Mate, we don't have 7 kids. We don't have seven kids.
I don't know, but would George Abbott, for example, count as a success story because he played a couple of minutes? I don't know. Like, what are we doing here?
Do you know?
Alfie Devine's played first team football. George Abbott.
Yeah, sure. That will be factored in. Yeah, so it's a bit misleading then. It is that's factored in. So it's I think what we've got to look at is how many actually get into the first team and get minimum 10 games in a season. That's the kind of
metric. Tottenham is not a lot. Tottenham is not a lot. 100%. Listen, we're on the same page still. Like we both would. I think everybody would love to see some of the nuggets, like, you know, polish some coal when it becomes some diamonds. We'd all love to see it. But for me, I just feel like, personally, no disrespect, I feel like the argument you're presenting around like sell Danso, and then if something happens to Van Heck, then Hardy or Junai Byfield can play.
I don't rate Danso. That's why I said it. I don't rate Danso.
That's fine. But I feel like there's a process, and I think the process that we go by is wrong or not great, it's imperfect. But I don't necessarily subscribe to like this notion that it would have been better. We would have had better outcomes in the last couple of seasons had we gone down a different path.
I believe, and it's through doing this for a long time. I believe when you have a player from your academy who eats, breathes, sleeps, has become institutionalized Tottenham, they will give you that extra 10, 15% that no other player can because they love the club. It means everything to them. And they know what it means to play Arsenal. They know what it means to play Chelsea because they've done it for the last 10 years at youth level. When you've got a player like that has got the potential, there's just something about them, I would put them in the squad and take my risk on them. Not all of them, 2 or 3. Rather than go and buy in the risk that, unfortunately for Tottenham, has mostly failed for us. That's where I'm at with it, Sean. That's...
All right, fair enough, mate. Let's listen. We'll move on. In fact, one more massive super chat from Will THFC. Big up to you, buddy. Swiss Frank. Of course, Will's over in Switzerland, isn't he? He says the amount of money in the Premier League now makes youth integration almost impossible.
True.
Newly promoted teams can spend 150 to 200 million like Sunderland instead of relying on youth players from top teams. this isn't the noughties. It's a good point, right? It's a good point. The economics of the game have changed. You made the argument, Stel, a little while ago about Alex Ferguson coming in and trusting, whatever it was, the Ferguson 6 or whatever it was, the 9. What was the phrase? The kids of 91. I forget whatever the nomenclature was, but I don't think that would happen anymore. And also, Ferguson had the kind of the time on his side and the wind in the bank to be able to make those sorts of decisions. I don't think managers have that sort of luxury. I would love to see Luca Williams-Barnett smash it tomorrow morning in the New Zealand game if he gets 20 half an hour, do something similar in Sydney, and then go on and do the same against Chelsea. And then maybe he's just going to impress. The stuff that he was doing in that game against MK Dons was so impressive that maybe De Zerbi's like, well, I don't know. Maybe you got something there. But the rest of them, I'm not sure. Big up to you, Will. Really appreciate you, mate. Super generous, my man. Super, super generous. Listen, we've been going for an hour and 25 now. Stel, let's get on to the nitty-gritty, mate. We want to talk about the next. Let's move away from youth. Let's move to first team stuff. Things have changed at Tottenham, have they not?
On initial observation, yes. Long term, I don't know. And for me, it's the long term that matters. I'm very happy with this window. I think it's the best window we've had probably since ENIC took over. I think that's a fair argument to have. But the amount of work that's needed and the most important issues haven't been addressed. So I'm not going to do what a lot of fans did last year. Frank's a coach. Frank's going to do this. Frank the tank. Blah blah blah. All this stuff. I'm not getting. I never got caught up in that anyway. I'm not getting caught up in that, Sean. I want to see how this plays out. I want to see how this looks over the season, and I want to see what ENIC do next summer and the summer after that. Because if this continues, then I will say 100% things have changed. There's no doubt about it. It's changed. So I just.
All right, so listen, I'm going to need you to do. My doorbell's going, and my mum's asleep, so I'm going to go downstairs. Can you just hold the fort for 2 seconds, and then when I come back, we want to get into the nitty gritty of why it's changed and how it's changed. Is that all right? Can you hold the fort for 2 seconds?
Yeah. Go for it. Go for it.
Nice.
All righty, people. Sean's gone just for a little bit. He'll be back in a couple of minutes. So, my view is that I've been here before with ENIC, where they've. When we're in the mud, they've invested to try and get us back up to top 4, top 6. We always seem to spend the most money from a position of weakness, and we always seem to try and fix the team mostly when we're in, down in the dumps. It's what we do when we get to top 4 that's going to matter for me. So when we had Conte, we got top 4. When Poch was manager, we had top 4. Ange, through the back door, got us into the Champions League. You could argue that's top 4. What did we do with that? We wasted it. Every single time we wasted it. So I believe De Zerbi, at some point in the next few years, maybe 3, 4, will get us into the top 4 or back in the Champions League. When we get into the Champions League, what did ENIC do then? Because that's when Liverpool signed Alisson and Van Dijk, when they were almost there. That's what Arsenal did. They came second. And then they went and bought Gyökeres, Eze, Hincapié, Zubimendi, and they won the league. I need to wait and see what Tottenham do when we get back to that striking distance. If ENIC go big, then that will be the moment where I say, right, this is different. I don't know if you heard any of that, Sean, but
I didn't know, but I got the gist of it. In terms of, I heard you the other day on your show, or someone sent me a clip of it, to be honest, saying
we're getting clipped. Good, that's good news.
On the Spurs hub, I'm introducing a receipts feature where anyone that says anything can quickly press clip that, clip these minutes, and it just goes into a tab, and then the people that clip it can name it. Stel calls out Butler, or Sean says Matisse Tell is going to bench Savinio, whatever else, right? All this sort of thing. Anyway, but I heard you say the other day that that Sean's entirely wrong about Daniel Levy. He knows it. He knows he's entirely wrong. Yeah. He's just dying on that hill. And by the way, I'll say it to his face and all that sort of thing. I know you always do. I know that. But do you genuinely not give Daniel Levy any credit for the fact that Tottenham are in the position where we can do what we've done this summer?
No. He mismanaged, £900 million worth of transfers in the last 6 years. He signed off on absolute gunk. He couldn't keep a manager long enough to have any proper impact on this club. He went through football directors like he does hot dinners. Daniel Levy caused us so much damage in the last 6 years. He gets no credit. The one thing I'll give him credit for, the only thing he gets credit from me, is when he sacked Mourinho before that cup final, which was the worst thing he's ever done. He learnt his lesson and he let Ange finish the season, so we got that trophy. At least he did that. Even though we came 17th, at least he got us that trophy. That's the one thing I'll give him credit for, not sacking Ange when everyone wanted him gone, because it turned out to be a trophy-winning decision. But everything else, the shit in this squad, the shit football directors we've had, no plan, no strategy, £100 million wasted on manager compensation. Managers that he hired told us they're going to be great and then sacked them. Sean, he's been a disaster.
Has he?
He's been a disaster.
Has he?
Yes.
How many seasons have we participated?
I gave you about 8 reasons.
How many seasons have we been in Europe out of the last 20?
Woo! What success.
Oh, because top four's not a trophy, right?
Well, if you're asking Wenger, it's the top, isn't it? You know, top four's like a trophy.
Sorry, mate. Someone's at my door again. Give me one. Sorry, I'll be back. We'll continue.
He's running away from the argument.
I'm not running away from anything. I'm just going to open the door.
No argument. Who cares about top 4 if you haven't got a team that can win the Champions League? Like, I don't know about you guys. Where I'm at now, I do not want Tottenham to be in the Champions League unless we can actually, realistically, have a chance at winning it. Unless we've got a team that can potentially win the Champions League, I couldn't care less if we're in it or not. Yeah, the money's great. Yeah, the money's brilliant. Look how much money we're spending right now. We're not in the Champions League next year.
Yeah, and who's down? Who's that because of?
ENIC.
Look, like ENIC, Daniel Levy. You wanted them both gone, bro. You were ENIC out, Levy out. So whatever. Yeah. What are we doing here?
Yeah, but clearly the early evidence is showing that Levy was the problem.
Well, how does that work? Square that circle for me.
Hold on a minute. You wanted Lange gone as well. He's still here.
That's a separate issue.
To be fair, I wanted Lange gone as well.
That's a separate thing. ENIC out, Levy out is what your thing was, right? Yeah. You want us to get relegated to see us come back up, right?
I want us to get relegated to force ENIC to change their ways.
You also said you were happy to see us get relegated to League One.
To force ENIC to change their ways.
Yeah. Right. So, but ENIC are changing their ways.
Because Levy's gone. So clearly
because Levy's gone?
Well, what else is it? What else has changed?
Ambition. The fact that we almost like Daniel, like Connie said.
Where was the ambition with Levy when he signed Joe Rodon and NG
Rome wasn't built in a day.
And Chicken Royale?
I remember you. I remember
and
talking
Archie
about
Gray and Odegaard. Where was Sousa? Where was the ambition with Levy?
Hang on a second. I remember talking about PSR and FFP and SDR 2-3 years ago. I remember doing videos going, everything's going to change. Everything's going to change. This was Daniel Levy's plan the whole time. And I remember you ridiculing it, going, what happened to that when nothing really materialized immediately? What happened to that? But they were saying this, but they were saying it's happening now, though, isn't it? It's happening now. Rome wasn't built in a day. Sometimes you have to be a little bit less impatient, Stel, in life. Sometimes, mate, you just need to let fucking sleeping dogs lie, and you need to wait for things to materialize the way they're supposed to be. And it's happening now. Daniel Levy might not have been the right guy to lead us into the next evolution, but there is something called Churchillianism. Okay, it is an idea whereby, you know, certain people are good in certain environments and certain people are not good in certain environments.
What are you waffling about? This is absolute guff. Absolute.
The point. Have you heard of a man called Winston Churchill? Have you heard of a Winston
Pochettino? No, he didn't want to back Poch, and then he threw £900 million at half of the managers who he hired who were donkeys. He signed checkbook managers without opening up the checkbook. He sacked the most serial winning manager 6 days before a cup final to put in Ryan Mason.
We got to
Mason
the
was
Champions
manager
League
twice.
final. We got to the Champions League final. We won the Europa League. We finished second for the first time in our league, in our history since 19. Hold up! You got to rant. Let me finish my rant because you interrupted me. Right? If you want to point to all the like the indiscretions and the bad decisions over 25 years, mate, people are going to make bad decisions. However, 16, 17 out of 20 seasons we finished in Europe. Okay, we finished third twice. We finished second. We got to the Champions League final. You're not responsible for what happens in the individual moments. That's not a chairman thing. That's a player thing. You can make the argument they didn't have enough players. However, what he built in terms of the stadium and the commercial revenue is being replicated by everybody across European football. Real Madrid, the greatest team of all time, rebuilt their stadium in the image of what Tottenham did. Everton are trying to do the same. Manchester United would love to do the same. Manchester City, who cheated their way to the success that they have. Chelsea, who cheated the way to the success that they have. Official cheats. City, unofficial, but should be cheats. We'll get to that point at some point in the future. Chelsea, official cheats. Both of those teams are now trying to rebuild their stadium. Chelsea can't afford to do it. Manchester City can only afford to do it in one end of their stadium. All of these things are blueprints created by Daniel fucking Levy. If you can't give him any credit other than the only credit I'll give him is that he decided not to sack Postecoglou. You are an agenda-driven donut, STEL, on this regard, mate. Give him the credit where it's due. There is something saying, hang on, I'm almost finished my rant. Churchillianism, okay? Churchill, he was the perfect man to lead us through wartime. As soon as wartime became peacetime, he was ousted because he wasn't necessary. That version of personality wasn't needed in peacetime like it was in wartime. Daniel Levy is not the right guy to lead us through this next ambition-based stage of where we are going, hopefully where we are going. And I am more than willing to concede all of the vulnerabilities, the weaknesses, and the chaos moments of his personality. I am more than willing to say that part of his need to win a debate, his need to win a negotiation held us back. But if you can't even give him the credit for creating the blueprint to which every other fucking football team is now trying to emulate, if you can't give him that, then you are someone with an agenda and you are imbalanced, bro.
You sound like every broken England fan who says shit like it's coming home because we invented the game and they're bloody awful at it because they can never win anything. That's what you've just done. It's coming home. We invented the game. You don't win anything. Look at Levy. He invented this. We won nothing. He achieved fuck all, Sean. He was a failure. All you said there, look at the money. Look at the money. Look at the revenue. No one cares.
How many other chairmen can you name that finished second in the Premier League, third in the Premier League, won a Europa League trophy, and also finished?
25 years' time, no one's going to look back and say, "Oh, that Daniel, look at the revenues he created."
Yes, they fucking will. Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Yeah, yes, that's what we sing in the terraces at Tottenham. We've got the best spreadsheets in England. We've got the money in the bank.
If you're looking for validation from the terraces,
we nearly got relegated twice. His model nearly relegated us twice.
We also nearly won the Premier League 3 times. What are you talking about?
Sean, and instead
we
of
weren't
going
relegated, and we didn't come in.
Great point. And instead of doing what Liverpool and Arsenal did when they nearly won it and go big and get it over the line, we did nothing. We signed crap. We signed shit players.
You don't know the circumstances of why we could or couldn't have done differently.
We sabotaged every good... When under Redknapp, we sabotaged it. Under Poch, we sabotaged it. Under Conte, we sabotaged it. We never once doubled down from a position of strength. Why? You're chairman. You're chairman, Sean. You're chairman.
Yeah, my chairman has just allowed us to break our record twice in a week, bro.
He got sacked for a reason. Because he wasn't good enough.
Oh, come off it, mate. Sacked by who? The people that did what?
The owners.
The people that did what? What did they do?
They sacked him.
What did they do?
They sacked him.
Are you? So you're like Lubo now, are you?
No. Enoch kept him, so they get massive blame as well. Enoch stuck with him. Enoch trusted in him, and Enoch were happy. Why? Because Levy was making money. the Lewis family were making money. The value of their shares is now what? 40 times what the initial investment was to buy the club.
Now, why is that, by the way? Everyone's got a problem with that, but why is that? Is that because the company makes money to allow us to do the things we're doing?
I don't have an issue.
You don't have a valuation that's 40 times more than they pay.
I never said I have an issue with it.
Success story.
I don't have an issue with it.
Success story, right?
I don't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with them making money. As long as the team is just as good. And the team has been a disaster. Awful. Yeah. The worst football we've seen.
In 25 years, has it? Do you remember the 90s?
Sean.
You're about my age, right, Stel? Do you remember the Stuart
Nethercott? How are you comparing 25 years to 10 years? Look at the 25 years before Enoch. We won 5 trophies. Compare the full 25 years.
What trophies did we win? 25. FA Cups were the biggest variance in the game. And Tottenham got themselves to 6 FA Cups. And
we are not entitled to trophies. Tottenham are not entitled to trophies.
So why are you referencing trophies in your argument?
Because that's what it's about. Winning trophies.
Well, you said we're not entitled to trophies.
I know, but it doesn't mean you don't try and win them. We got to as many trophy finals in our period under Daniel Levy. We never won them. The squad was never good enough. 2 occasions we could have done better, but we never invested in the squad, Sean. You know it. Look at.
I don't know it. In the last 4 years, I think.
When have we ever had a good transfer window until now?
We spent the second most amount of money in the last 3 seasons than anyone.
Yeah, Levy mismanaged the money. He pissed it down the drain.
Sorry, so is it we didn't spend or is it we misspent? Which one is it?
I never said we didn't spend.
Is it Daniel Levy that's identifying the players? Did Daniel Levy go on Football Manager or the Spurs Hub or Data MB and go, let's get Tanguy and Dombele?
You're clearly rattled because the game is up on Levy and you rested your whole YouTube mantra on him.
What are you talking about?
And you're desperately trying to defend the guy.
You keep saying that, bro. You keep saying that. Doesn't make it so. Daniel Levy created what we are about to become. He is the foundation. He was the centerpiece. He's the cornerstone of all of this.
He was the poison that nearly relegated us.
Yeah, you are desperate for that narrative to continue. You are desperate.
Everyone knows it. Everyone
doesn't know it. Everyone doesn't know it, bro. Everyone doesn't know it.
Every single sports pundit and sports mainstream media show was calling out Levy. They all called him out.
They weren't calling him out. They weren't calling him out.
Oh, yes, they did. The last 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. Because the fucking performance on the pitch was at 17th, right? We also won the Europa League, bro.
Because our fans were intolerant.
How many other chairmen in the Premier League? Let me ask you a question. How many other chairmen in the Premier League have a Champions League final to their name, a Europa League winners medal to their name, a second place finish, a third place finish twice, and about 6 finals?
Failure. And how many chairmen nearly finished 17th back to back and nearly got relegated the club? How many chairmen have got that to their name?
But how
many chairmen sacked to manager for 5 days? How many chairmen sacked an elite manager 5 days before a cup final?
Doesn't mean he would have won it.
None. Sure, none of them have done that. Ryan Mason.
The difference between me and you, Stel, is that
you love leaving, and I know he's the problem.
No, the difference between me and you is that. Well, the fundamental difference is that you're wrong and I'm right. But the bigger, the more nuanced difference on it, the more nuanced difference is that I am willing to acknowledge the weaknesses within the personality of Daniel Levy. You are not willing to acknowledge the strengths that have got us to the position that we're in and that have participated in 17 seasons out of 20 in European football and all of the other things. You are not willing to acknowledge that because you are so embedded. You cannot convince a believer to believe.
Sean, Spurs YouTube has been the most watched freaking entertainment for the rivals because we've been toxic for 5 years. Who was the chairman? Who was the chairman?
We finished 4th. What are you talking about? 4 years ago,
we finished 6th. Who was the chairman during the toxicity? Him. Who was the chairman that under his reign we got called Spursy and Bottle Job? Him. He's created this vibe. He's created this division.
There's a fuck about naming chairman.
Look how good the Europa
League. We get called Spursy by Nottingham Forest fans and by fucking Fulham fans and by what are they fucking done? What are you talking about?
They're not our rivals. They're not. No, none of those are the big six.
You're right. Let's talk about Chelsea, shall we? Let's talk about Chelsea. Right, the team that are official cheats.
that
I agree.
cheated their way to their.
I agree.
Take away their success, right? Which happened to coincide from Abramovich coming in, that was right in the epicenter of the Daniel Levy tenure. Same with Manchester City, right? You remove those two anomalies from the situation, about 75% of trophies that we could have won go in different directions. Doesn't mean they come to Tottenham, but you've got two versions of the fucking Lance Armstrong cyclist participating in the Premier League. That, like, it's a disgrace, and you don't want to do. You don't want to consider that stuff as realistic reasons why you're like, where's our trophy? You don't want to consider that. You just want to land on your narrative that Daniel Levy was a donut. And as I say, I am more than willing to concede that Daniel Levy's held us back with his negotiation stuff. What you're unwilling to do is acknowledge the fact that this guy built
was a miser. Miser. He had zero risk appetite. He wasn't prepared to get the players in that our managers needed. Daniel Levy thought that he could have his finger in every pie and run the whole show, and he ran us into the ground. We're lucky.
Didn't run us into the ground. Didn't run us into the ground at all.
Yes, he did.
Over 25 years. What are you talking about?
Not about money. Every argument with you is about money.
17 seasons out of 25. We finished in the top six.
Your argument with Levy is money.
How about
you are money every argument. Your argument with Levy is money. Your argument with the academy is money. Everything with you is money. No. Football, he was a disaster.
No, he wasn't. No,
right, Sean, every argument. You are money centric. You are the focus of all
when else has Tottenham Hotspur in their history finished?
We could argue about chicken and you'd bring it back to money. We could argue about the taste of the chicken and you'd bring it back to money. Daniel Levy was a disaster.
You can keep saying that. It's like you're part of the fucking Nazis that are saying, tell a lie.
Don't associate me with the Nazis, because I have a different opinion.
You're telling a lie. You're saying it all the time. You're making it out to be true. It's not true. I don't come back to money. I come back to football perspectives, okay?
You don't. All the things you say about Daniel Levy, look at the money we've got. Look how much we can spend. Look at
I'm not talking about that. Listen to me.
His decision-making on a football level was an absolute shambles, Sean.
Listen to me, STEL. 1 second.
100 million pounds in manager compensation. 100 million.
Well, how much have Chelsea spent on their manager compensation?
Talk about Tottenham.
Oh, you don't like comparisons because it doesn't suit your
Compare us to Arsenal. Compare us to Arsenal then. What? You pick the one anomaly. Compare us to Arsenal. Compare us to Liverpool, who aren't oil barons, who aren't owned by state-funded money. Compare us to Man United. You pick the one top six club that broke the rules, and that was funded by, as you call it, financial doping. Where's he gone now? Oh, he's back. Talk about the other clubs that aren't state funded, that aren't run by oil money, because they didn't do what our chairman did. Our chairman was a disaster, Sean. He ruined the football team, ruined the football club, but the balance sheets are great, so therefore my chairman. Come on, man.
You finished?
Go on, tell me about the balance sheet.
You can keep making up lies about balance sheet.
You're going to talk about money now.
You interrupted me again. You interrupted me again. Right. Tottenham have finished second. Tottenham have finished third twice. Name me another Tottenham iteration. Just talk about Tottenham. Name me another Tottenham iteration that has achieved that. In the greatest leveler of all football thing. It's not about how well you get it, how lucky you get in the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. The league is the great barometer, mate. It's the great level set because you have to play everybody twice. In Tottenham's history, they have never had a consistent theme of finishing between second, third, and fourth, and fifth, and sixth, as they have had in Daniel Levy's era. You consider that failure? Fine.
It's not true. Not true.
It is true. It is true. It is true, mate. I've run the fucking stats on it. I've got the fucking stats.
The 25 years before Levy and the 25 years of Levy, we finished the same number of times.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Yes,
I know you tried. You tried that before.
No, I've looked at it, Sean.
You're looking at it wrong.
No, you're lying. Now who's the Nazi? Right? We finished in the top 4 25 years before.
We were relegated in that period in the 25 years before Tottenham.
Sure.
And I remember you putting out I remember you doing this on Twitter because you were trying to
the argument. I never
No, I'm not. Let me finish my point.
You mentioned top 4. We finished just as many times.
You included in your top 4 analysis when Tottenham finished top 4 in League 2.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I remember.
No, I didn't. Sean, we finished in the top 4 6 times 25 years before Enoch and Levy. Under Levy, we finished 7 times, so 1 more. The average league position.
So 18% more, yeah? Even though that's not true, but even on your that's 18%.
The percentage, let's go with the big number.
18% more, yeah.
Sean, hear me out on this, because the truth has to come out, because you mislead your audience and they believe your shit. They actually believe your shit. 25 years before Levy and 25 years of Levy, we finished 6 times top 4, under Levy 7, hardly moving the needle. In terms of average league position, under Levy, we finished average 6.5, so 6.5 in the league, if there was such a position. Before Levy, it was 8th. So he moved us 1.5 up. Hardly a game changer. Trophy-wise,
that's wrong.
Trophy-wise, no, it's not. Trophy-wise, 80% drop. The one that matters.
Because in the 25 years that you're talking about, for example, one of the seasons, I remember you doing this, right? You considered when Tottenham were in League 2, we went from League 1 to we got relegated. And in the second season, we finished 3rd or 2nd, wherever it was, in League 2. We got promoted again. Just let me speak for a second. And you put that down on your maths as Tottenham finishing 2nd, when actually we finished 26th in the actual calculation. Okay? Your maths is wrong.
No, even if you factor that one season out, it's hardly a game-changing 25 years of Levy. He hardly moved the needle. When you look at the metrics...
Do me a favour.
He hasn't, Sean. Financially, yes. Money-wise, yes. Shareholder value, yes. But average league position, number of top 4 finishes, trophy wins, in the 25 years he had, he hardly moved the needle, man. He hardly moved the needle. But on the money side, on the ching-ching, he blew it out of the park. Great.
Thanks, Daniel. You're embarrassing yourself with your agenda.
I'm not.
You are, bro.
No, you, Sean, what massively changed in the 25 years of Levy on the pitch?
We finished in our highest position 3 times out of, in the period between 2015, in the last 10 years, we finished 3 times our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th highest position ever. The only time in the history of the fucking football club we've ever finished higher was in 1961. We won it, and 1951.
Bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. 1985, we just missed out on winning the league to Everton. We should have won it.
We finished third.
So you just said our
first, second, and third. We finished 2nd, and we finished 3rd twice under Daniel Levy. Right.
So 85 we did that. In 85 we did that.
No, you just finished 2nd and 3rd, right?
Sean, he had 25 years to turn a football club into a winning team. He failed.
No, he didn't. He set the ground. He set the fucking benchmark, mate. We got to a Champions League fucking final.
With Harry Winks and Moussa Sissoko in midfield, man.
Because of injuries and Dembele leaving the club.
Because in January, we let Dembele go and no signings came in. He made that decision.
Wanted to leave.
So replace him. Bring in another player. He did nothing, Sean. He signed nobody. Liverpool don't do that. Arsenal don't do that. They sign players. From a position of strength, he didn't sign players.
We're just taking on a £1 billion debt. If you can't factor,
Here we go. Sean,
Dude, it's like sitting there, mate. You're like sitting there saying, Sean, I want to drive my car. And I'm like, yeah, but you need to put petrol in the engine. Sean, if you go on about fucking petrol, one more fucking time, I'm going to lose my mind. Why can't I drive my car? Because you need petrol still. Oh, there you go again about petrol. Okay, you need money. Money makes the fucking world go round, bro. You're insane.
If he spent money in that January window and made that team better, we could have won that Champions League final, and the winnings from that final would have surpassed anything that he spent.
If you can't get your head,
the growth of our fan base off of the back of that would have increased the revenues.
He never took risk.
Sean, he never took risk with the football team. He never took risk with the football. You even did a show on it saying, I'm not happy with Daniel Levy's risk appetite. You did a show on it.
I'm more than happy to concede those things, but you're not happy to concede anything on the other side.
I did. I did concede. I said he done well not to sack him.
When I mentioned money, right, which is vitally important to any fucking entity, it's important for you, Stel, right? If your wife, your girlfriend says, Stel, there's no bread in the fridge, there's no milk, you go, fuck, talk about money again. Talk about money. Come on, you need to have money to make the fucking game work. Daniel Levy provided the money. What we are currently doing...
I'm not against the money. You're not listening. I said you're not listening to me. I said I'm not against the money. I said it
You've been
twice.
calling me out for the last 15 minutes about money.
I'm calling you out because that's the only argument you have. I'm saying I don't have no issue with us making money. I have no issue if the academy even becomes a money-making tool and we call it for what it is. My issue is the money we've had, he has fucked it. He mismanaged the money. The compensation, the manager fees, the player transfers, the lack of quality players that he spent the money on. He mismanaged the money, Sean. He mismanaged our funds. It's why we became shit. That was my argument. He was a poor chairman. He was a
poor chairman.
He did. He had £900 million to
spend. We've been through all this shit a million times. Okay,
hey, £900 million.
You'll die on your hill that he was the worst chairman.
I'm not dying on it. It's fact. Arsenal spent £1 billion. Look what they did, Sean. Arsenal spent £1 billion.
Come. Let me speak. Stella, let me speak for a second.
Do you agree that under the Cronkies, Arsenal spent $1 billion and got it right, and under Daniel Levy, we spent $900 million and catastrophically got it wrong?
If you will agree that it took Arsenal 8 years, but after moving into their new stadium to win a trophy, whereas it took Tottenham only 5.
What are you doing? Sean, what are you doing? I've just given you an example where we both had the money to spend. They spent it wisely.
We didn't. No, this is the point.
They did. No. Look how they spent the money. They've won the league. They've won the league.
Breathe. Can I finish up? Can I make a point without you fucking interrupting me for a second, please? Can I make a point? Arsenal moved into their new stadium. I think it was in 2001. Someone in the chat can correct me. I'm pretty sure it took them 8 years before they won their first trophy, which was the FA Cup. Okay, because they had to pay down the debt on their stadium. Arsene Wenger, who was one of the greatest man, I would make the argument for what it's worth, as much as I hate Arsenal, that Arsene Wenger actually was one of the greatest managers, probably the greatest manager. He won't get recognised as the greatest manager in the Premier League because he didn't have the luxury of what Alex Ferguson did or what Pep did or what Jurgen did. But Arsene Wenger had to continue the competitiveness of Arsenal whilst having to sell every time a player became a superstar. And he maintained their competitiveness. He was absolute superstar. It took Tottenham fewer years for us to win our first trophy, and it was the Europa fucking League, coming into a stadium with £1 billion of debt, which dwarfed what Arsenal put into their stadium. Times were different, inflation, all these things. I know you don't like the conversation of money because you think I'm leading to an outcome that you don't want to hear. But unfortunately, Stel, football is a business as much as a fucking
What's
game.
What's that got to do with mismanaging money? You're waffling. This is the
I'm not waffling. I'm trying
This is a word salad of nonsense. What has that got to do?
You just made I'm counteracting your argument about...
You're waffling. Sean, you're waffling.
Interrupting me and you might learn something, Stel.
Sean, but how can you learn if you don't listen to what I've said first? You're talking about
the fucking Cronky, Stel. Let me get to the fucking
Sean,
point,
I'm talking about how Arsenal and Spurs spent the same money. Who cares how long it took to get the money?
Because
both clubs had the money.
In different environments. Bro.
Sean, we were in the same environment as Arsenal. We misspent the money. We wasted it.
What money?
We wasted £900 million.
What so Arsenal didn't misspend their money. They didn't buy fucking Pepe for 100 million, 80, 90 million quid. And
They won the FA Cup. They won the FA Cup.
We won the Europa League. We won the Europa League.
Sean, yes. Yes. We won the Europa League. That's not the Premier League, is it? We spent 900 million to win the Europa. Is that what you're saying to me?
Oh my God.
We finished 17th. Like, honestly, how can anyone with a brain cell compare how Arsenal spent their billion to how we spent our 9? Mate, we spent 200 million on Solanke, Ritchie, Odegaard and Gray. But Arsenal didn't do that.
It's taken Arsenal how long to win a fucking trophy under Arteta?
Sean, Arteta's won 2 in 6 years.
He inherited the first one. Let's come on now. What are we doing here? Right? He won the FA Cup. He joined the fucking club.
Do you think Arsenal will win a trophy next year?
Yeah, because of the current situation between the two clubs.
Because they spent them.
No, fucking shut up for a second, Stel. If you're making the
argument,
argument,
they spent their money wisely.
Bro, if you want to have a conversation, you have to let the other person speak, mate. I know your tactic is like, I'm just going to overtalk people so they can't get their point across.
No, it's just because you went off topic.
You have to let me speak, mate.
It's because you went off topic. I had to bring you back on.
No, I was trying to answer your fucking claim that the Cronkies are somehow masters of the fucking universe. And I was trying to get to the point about why exactly and how exactly that came around, okay? The Arsenal situation when the Cronkies took over versus the Cronkies buying out the debt is entirely different to Tottenham, but they spent 7 years paying down the debt on their stadium. It's a different scenario. You don't want to hear that shit because you put it under the finance bucket, and the finance bucket, in your eyes, is a topic to fucking avoid because you know that when you go into that bucket, it means that Daniel Levy isn't the fucking cancer that you prescribed him as. You don't want to hear about finance, but it's fucking entirely necessary as part of a fucking well-rounded conversation, bro, to understand where we are and how we got here and why it is that Tottenham Hotspur can now, for the first time in years, finally do things like picking up the phone and saying, how much do you want for Tonali? And Newcastle says 100 million. And we have donuts that are now getting celebrated because they just pay the fucking money. And you know what else is fucking interesting to me, if I'm entirely honest? It's when football fans turn around and go, I don't care about the money because it's not my money. Right? When people say, do you think Tottenham overpaid for Tonali? Do you think Tottenham overpaid for Fernandes? Do you think Villa or Chelsea overpaid for Morgan Rogers? Do you think City overpaid for fucking Elliot Anderson? And these same people go, I don't care. It's not my money. Right. But you do care when the same football club that is not providing, you're not providing the money for, don't pay the money. It's a massive hypocrisy, right? If our football club doesn't pay the money, then you do care. Because they're tight, they're greedy, they're fucking cheapskates. But when they do pay the money, when they overpay, all of a sudden it's just pay the money. I don't care. It's not my money. The double standards in the conversation from football fans is ridiculous. And people like you, Stel, want to move away from the financial conversation because it doesn't suit your argument.
What has that got to do with us misspending the money that we've got?
What? What's it got to do with what? Misspending what money?
The money that we had for the last 6 years.
Who have we misspent money on?
The 900 million pounds that we misspent on a team that is needing a complete overhaul.
That won the Europa League, you mean?
And everyone wanted the manager sacked because that wasn't good enough, except for me and a few others. So,
right, but the team that was misspent money but won the Europa League.
The 900 million pounds that led to us finishing 17th twice, that brought in the talented Solanke, Odegaard, Richarlison, Souza, I could go on and on. The 900 million pounds that we mismanaged, 100 million pounds spent on compensating managers because we sacked them because we clearly hired the wrong managers and kept doing that. The money that we misspent, Sean, what has anything that you've just said got to do with the 900 that we spent, that we misspent?
Well, because the guy who's created the money, created the ecosystem for us to make enough money to be able to misspend, right? Football clubs don't get it right 100% of the time still. Do you get all of your decisions right? in life.
I don't make the same mistake every year for 6 years running.
So is Tonali a mistake?
Levy's not here.
Is Tonali a mistake?
Yeah, Levy's not here. It's not Levy that's signing it.
But
We're talking about
how did we afford the money to pay for Tonali?
We've always had the money, but we've misspent
because
of the way Enoch
of
the club.
Daniel Levy. Because of Daniel Levy.
No.
I don't give a fuck how you describe it. Stel, you've been Enoch out and Levy out. The same thing.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes, because I have an issue with their lack of strategy, their lack of backing a manager, their lack of not bringing academy players through, and their lack of pivot. Sure.
So the current window is a pivot towards the direction that you want. That is only possible and plausible because of the genius of the people that got in front of the market and built a stadium and all these
things. If Levy was a genius,
football clubs in the fucking world, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Everton, Newcastle want to do it but can't. Manchester United want to do it but can't. Chelsea want to do it but can't afford to. Right? Everybody wants to copy what Tottenham did, and by proxy of that, everybody in the game, in the fucking boardrooms of every football club around the world, looks at Daniel Levy and says, "Fucking genius, an innovator." You might disagree, but I don't care. I would rather share the mindset and the opinion of fucking Simon Jordan, who's a former owner of a football club, than you, Stel, or anybody in the comments that thinks that Daniel Levy's a donut. He ain't a donut. He's a fucking groundbreaker, bro. He broke ground on how to run a football club. He might have been poor in negotiations, and I will concede all those things. He might have been like the inability for him to look at a negotiation as a win-win, and that he had to be zero-sum. I've always agreed and conceded that is a limitation, and that's why I'm happy that he's not here right now. But that doesn't mean that I wanted Churchill to be as peacetime and as wartime prime minister. Daniel Levy was necessary in the process. We are now out of that process, and now we need someone else to take hold of his genius. And
he was shit. That's why he's gone. He was shit. You talk about Simon Jordan, a failed chairman.
You say something about Winston Churchill. The fact that Winston Churchill wasn't the prime minister in 1950.
I want to rebuttal. You talk about Simon Jordan.
Before you do, let me just quickly, just 1 second. Do you make the same assertion then that because Winston Churchill wasn't the prime minister in 1950, that he shouldn't have been there in 1945?
I don't know my history about politics back then, Sean. I don't know about that stuff.
World War II.
Can we stick to the football, because I don't understand the analogy. I don't have the knowledge for that. I don't have the knowledge.
Well, I'll summarise the analogy, right? That Winston Churchill.
Can I just rebuttal what you just said? Then you can bring up the analogy, because otherwise I'm going to forget. Simon Jordan, a failed chairman of Crystal Palace, right? You want me to listen to him, who's like that with Daniel Levy, best mates, buddies, backs him to the hill, cut from the same cloth. If you're doing what Keir Starmer did, when the people around him forced him out because he was a shit leader, when the Labour Party forced him out because he's a shit leader, his exit speech was, "I did lots of great things." Mate, if you did so many great things, why have they got rid of you? If Daniel Levy was a genius, why did they get rid of him, Sean?
Again, if you're bringing politics into it, mate, why did they get rid of Winston Churchill? There's a time and a place, mate. There's a time and a place. Horses for courses. What are we doing here? You are pathologically incapable of giving Daniel Levy any credit. Yet everything that we are about to do, if we get to the situation where
why don't they keep him, Sean? Why don't they keep him?
I personally believe that the football club, there's something that's gone on behind the scenes that we don't know the truth of, right? Whether it's Daniel Levy was cop blocking investment or whatever else, I think there's something in the background that we don't know. Okay, in terms of, is it as like simple as these guys just wanted to come and the kids wanted to come in and go, you know what, 17th twice is unacceptable. We'll throw him under the bus and make all these excuses as to why. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm happy that Daniel Levy has moved on, because if Daniel Levy was still here, I don't believe Daniel Levy would have signed Sandro Tonali, because I don't think he would have been capable personally of paying over the odds, right? That's a problem, right? In a certain scenario, it doesn't mean that you should always pick up the phone and say, how much do you want? Okay, we'll pay it. That's also problematic. It's massively problematic. But for me, Daniel Levy was to sit here and try to pretend like Daniel Levy is in no way responsible for the fact that Tottenham can now break our transfer record twice in a matter of a couple of days still, I think you're being entirely disingenuous, and I think you are basing it on your agenda, and I think that's fine. I don't care, but like we'll never agree on this. But
the reason we've got the money is because we built that stadium. That wasn't
built the stadium, bro.
Mate, that wasn't Levy's genius idea to build a new stadium. Mate, what? So Daniel Levy, he said, hey, Tottenham, hey, board of directors, let's build a new stadium. You know that he's the one. Daniel Levy's the one that called that shot.
Yes.
Not Enoch.
Oh, fuck me. What are you doing, bro?
I'm asking you a question. So you know for a fact it was Daniel Levy's idea to build a new stadium. It wasn't the board. It wasn't Donna Cullen. It wasn't Joe Lewis. It wasn't Cablehorn. None of them. It wasn't none of their idea.
If you're going to hold everything that happens to Tottenham...
I'm asking you a question, Sean. I'm asking you a question.
And I'm answering it. If you give me 5 seconds without interrupting me, Stel. If you are going to hold everything that was bad about Tottenham Hotspur to Daniel Levy's feet in the last 25 years, which is what you do, then everything that was good about Tottenham Hotspur also has to be held to his feet as well. That is how logic works, my man. And if you're going to sit there and say this was on Daniel Levy but this wasn't, without knowledge,
what was the good?
Sorry, your argument is moved.
What was the good? What was the good?
Oh, for
other than him,
Champions League final, 6.
That's not good. We lost it. We did. We got rid of Dembele. We didn't sign players. He sabotaged that team, Sean.
He sabotaged that team. He wasn't able to be subbed on for the fucking penalty shootout against Manchester.
Sorry that Pochettino couldn't sign a replacement for Dembele. Sorry, Pochettino couldn't sign. Sorry, Pochettino couldn't buy any players for 3 transfer windows. It's all
embarrassing, mate. You're embarrassing yourself now. What are we doing
here? You have built your entire kind of persona on being the Levy guy, the spreadsheet guy.
I don't give a fuck about Daniel Levy. I just stand up for irrelevant.
Defending him with a passion for 45 minutes.
You want to talk about? What are you talking about?
By the way, congratulations! You're on 43,000 subs.
Am I? Oh, what on, mate? What on, guys? What on, guys? Chat. Fucking shout out to the chat. Still, I am more. I don't give a fuck about
Sean,
you present me as Daniel.
I'm going to give you a nugget. I'm going to give you a nugget.
Oh, just wait a second. Wait a second. Still, please let me have a fucking word in before. Right?
I do. I let you speak.
I've mentioned it. I must have said this 1,000 times. Right? When people present irrational, illogical arguments that cherry pick where they account fucking certain accountability.
It's not.
You literally just said that everything that bad has happened to Tottenham Hotspur is because of Daniel Levy. But when it comes to the good things like the stadium building, the revenue, you sit there and go, that wasn't Daniel Levy necessarily, that was Enoch.
Sean.
So at the same time, was it not Enoch that misspent the 900 million that you claim was misspent? Was it not Daniel Levy, or was it Enoch that fucked up with regards to sacking Mourinho? All the things that you account on Daniel Levy's feet, that's fine. I'm happy for you to do that. But if that's what you're going to do, you have to be consistent. And all of you Levy out people, you don't do that. You just reflect on fucking Gedson Fernandez versus fucking Bruno. Even though that story's been misproven, by the way, completely disproven. And also the story regarding the geezer from Chelsea, right? The what's his name? I can't think of his name. The superstar from Chelsea went to Real Madrid for 100 million. All of those stories that you lot present as like Daniel Levy.
Eden
Hazard. Yeah, all of those stories have been disproven in the last 6 months as being a myth. But yet none of you guys will ever fucking recognize that.
They're not my arguments. Hold on, Sean. Hold on. I'm my own person, right? There's a lot of things, the Levy out and Enoch out stuff people said that I never agreed with, right? Look, I'll give you a nugget. I will give Daniel Levy credit for keeping us financially stable during past periods like Saran and Sugar, who actually, no, he stabilised us. But Tottenham got themselves... I'm giving you a nugget, right? I'm giving you a nugget.
Don't start by fucking giving Alan Sugar credit if you're not prepared to give Daniel Levy any credit. Do me a fuck.
Sean, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, right? I will give Daniel Levy credit for making us a financially well-run club, right? As the way we run financially, there is a very strong argument to say We are a well-run business, okay? I will give him all the credit in the world for that. However, when you have that well-run business and you have now the tools and the mechanisms to do something great, every time, bar not sacking Ange, he fucked it. He fucked it every single time. So for me, him going is the best thing that's happened to us if ENIC stick with De Zerbi and back him. Because if not, they need to go as well. They need to go ASAP if they're not going to do it.
Yeah. With all due respect, though, like, I'm not gonna listen to the advice of someone who thought that the best case scenario for Tottenham Hotspur was to get relegated.
That was to force change, which let's see if we're going to get.
Yeah, but you were so indented in that the ideology that you didn't consider the actual ramifications. And if I was to say to you the ramifications were financial, which I'm pretty sure we must have had that conversation on Spurs 5.
Yeah, but I wanted financial pain.
Oh, there you go again, talking about finance.
No. I wouldn't know, because you know my argument. My argument was I wanted financial pain for ENIC. I wanted them to hurt. I wanted them to bleed.
So it's okay for you to talk about finances, but whenever I bring it up because it damages your argument, you have a problem with it.
No, because all you do is talk about finances, and every argument comes back to...
Absolutely not. Not at
Sean,
all.
Sean, from a footballing perspective, from a footballing angle, did Daniel Levy make Tottenham Hotspur a better football team? How
long? Sorry, from 2000 to 2025, do we have generally better players over that period than we did from the 1980s to 2000?
No.
What are you talking? Of course we did.
No, the 25.
You remember the 90s? No, you're the same age as me. You grew up in the
25 years prior. He was given 25 years. I'm not doing this. Oh, Daniel Levy gets 25 years, but we're going to compare it to the 10 years before. No, compare the same time frames. Did he make Tottenham better? For me, the answer is no. It's the same.
Yes, he fucking did.
Sean, we won fuck all under Levy.
Mate, FA Cup is about variance, bro. Fucking figure it out.
It's about glory. It's about building a team that can win. We never built a team, a squad that can compete on all fronts to win.
Jesus Christ,
he never did it, Sean. Sean, do you think Daniel Levy had a strategy and a plan for the football team? Do you think?
I will absolutely. This is the thing, right? I'm willing to concede so many things. You're not willing to concede anything, right? This is where you have the difference between someone who's balanced but has an opinion versus someone that's
I'm saying on the pitch he was a disaster. His decisions for the on the pitch were disasters. What I'm saying.
Yeah, and whenever I mention finances off the pitch, you go, "Oh, there you go again," talking about things that don't suit my argument. Right? On the pitch, Daniel Levy had massive. He's not responsible for kicking the fucking goals, by the way, but on the pitch. And he's not responsible for scouting the players. He's not responsible for fucking he's signing the players maybe, right? But in terms of scouting the players, he didn't scout Ndombele, right? He didn't do any of those things, okay? So he was advised by everybody that to some degree came to us with a very good CV and has gone on to another degree, has gone on to other things that are better than Tottenham Hotspur, right? Medical and coaching and scouting and otherwise. Like there's plenty of people that we've hired and fired along the way that have been more than capable before they came to us and more than capable after the fact. The reality is that the game has moved, the politics of the football game has changed, and Tottenham Hotspur had to incorporate into their figuring and into their factoring that two other teams emerged that would never have been there in the 80s or 70s or 90s that were. And they won 70% of all of the trophies that were up for being won during the period that Daniel Levy was as a chairman, and those teams cheated, bro. Chelsea, official cheats. You won't acknowledge that. You won't that's an irrelevant. It's not.
No, I've agreed with you on that.
Win their
You're lying, Sean. You're lying. I agree. I have agreed that Chelsea financially doped. I agree that Man City financially doped. What I don't agree is the way you dismiss teams that didn't financially dope that found success. Arsenal, Liverpool, United. How did they do it then?
Always bigger than Tottenham Hotspur. Always bigger.
Sean, they made better footballing decisions.
They have always been bigger than Tottenham. Those three teams are the three most successful teams.
Rubbish.
Those three teams.
Rubbish.
Oh, mate, fucking go and look at the trophy halls.
I'm gonna educate you and your audience right now. In 1992, when the Premier League began, Arsenal had only won 5 more trophies than Tottenham. 5.
So more successful. Tick. Okay, I was right. Carry on. Next.
Sean, by 5
No,
trophies.
come on, carry on. Next. More successful.
No,
Liverpool. Liverpool, the most successful football team in history.
Stop there, Sean. Stop there. They'd won 5 more trophies than us, right? There wasn't this chasm. But then what happened for 7 years under Sugar and 25 years...
Stel, you were just about to educate our football team.
Stel, stop interrupting me. I speak and you interrupt me. So you interrupt me, but I can't interrupt you, right?
No. You were just...
You're doing exactly what you have a go at me for. Now, let me
interrupted me, Stel. You interrupted me.
You got to let me
because I was talking. You interrupted me by saying, I'm about to land some facts, or I'm about to educate your audience, okay?
Because
so do that. Don't do that by bringing in your own opinion. Do that by continuing.
You lied.
Do that by continuing the stats. So I said that Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester United were always more successful than Tottenham. You said that's not true. I'm now going to educate your audience, and you were going through this. Hang on, you were going through the trophies, and then you said Arsenal, and then you gave the stats, and you correct. I was right. Arsenal more successful.
It's the context in which you said it.
Now go to Manchester United.
No. I'm going to finish what I wanted to say. You don't tell me what I'm going to say, right? You saying those clubs were more successful than us, there's context. If Arsenal had won 1 more trophy than us, that doesn't deem that they're more successful because of 1 trophy. Stats-wise, you're too smart to know. Stats-wise, yes. But the context is they're pretty much the same, right? They were only 5 trophies ahead of us.
Haven't won 1, they've won 5 more, right?
Sean,
5, right?
Sean, they were 5 ahead of us. There wasn't this chasm. But then what happened?
And now Manchester
Let me finish. Let me land the point. You're trying to derail me from finishing my point. The point I'm trying to make here is there isn't this huge chasm. But then what happened the next 35 years, which 80% was Levy and Enoch, is the void went humongous to a size it's never been before. And the reason is because Arsenal made good footballing decisions and Tottenham made shocking decisions. And Arsenal blew us out of the water. They were never miles ahead of us. Arsenal were this colossal club that were humongously bigger than Tottenham. Now they are, because they made good decisions that affected the football pitch and we made disastrous decisions. That's the point I'm trying to make, Sean. Levy created that chasm.
Okay,
His decisions caused that.
You're moving back into opinions again. Can we carry on?
No, it's a fact. The gap between us is huge.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact. It's opinion.
It is. Arsenal are massive compared to us now.
The only fact. No, hey, wait, Stop. You had your chance to provide facts. You provided 1 fact, which actually suited my narrative. That was Arsenal are more successful.
No, I gave context to the statement you made.
Hang on.
You're taking
now let's move on to the next stat, because after that it was all opinion. The next stat. Manchester United. How many more trophies had Manchester United won than Tottenham when Daniel Levy took over?
Sean,
do you have that in front of you?
Sean,
no, come on. So you had the facts in front of you, right?
Sean.
So you had the facts in front of you. Right?
No, Sean. When I said to you, you're lying, Sean. You were lying about the context. The context that you applied to that comment.
I don't think you can lie about context.
The perception you were trying to give is Tottenham can never win lots of trophies because the other clubs are bigger. And on that basis, so then why take over the club then if you can't close the gap? Why take over the club if you can't catch Arsenal? What they did was they made the gap bigger, Sean. They allowed those clubs to become far bigger than us.
Okay.
That's where you were lying.
For what it's worth, if there were other content creators on here having this discussion with you, and you had said that you're lying, and the reason why you're lying is because you're talking about context. Context is subjective, so it's not a lie; it's a personal persuasion. I'm not going to get offended by it.
So what did you mean by that comment? No, what did you mean by that comment then? When you said because those clubs are bigger, bro, what did you mean by that then?
Relax for a second. Let me finish my point. Okay.
Explain what you meant by that then as well.
When you say that Sean is lying, and the reason you're lying is not because of the stats and the facts, which is what I was talking about, you're saying I'm lying because of the context. Context is subjective. How you interpret the context doesn't make you a liar, right?
No,
so I don't care. You can call me a liar as much as you want. It doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me in the slightest bit. But other people that would be in this conversation with you would take massive offense to being considered a liar.
Well, that's you now doing the same of what you just said. That's open to opinion as well. Sean, you made a comment. Sean, explain your comment then. Explain your comment.
No, what I would love you to do, Stel, was to finish the point you were making, which was you had the stats around trophy gaps in front of you, and the first and the only stat that you actually brought up, you actually proved my point. But if you were to go into the next stat, which was Liverpool and the trophy gap between Tottenham then and Liverpool then, and Tottenham now and Liverpool now, I would also be right about that. And exactly the same would happen with Manchester United. You don't want to go down that path because you know that statistically and factually, I'm right and you're wrong. Okay, the only reason that Tottenham are part of the 9% of teams that don't win the trophies every year, which the 91% do that go towards the same 5 teams, is because Chelsea and Manchester City have entered that group, and those 2 teams have won more trophies than even the other 3 teams have in the last 25 years. But both of those teams have completely cooked the books and cheated, literally cheated to do that. And Tottenham Hotspur went about their method in a legal and actually correct way. But unfortunately, sometimes you have to be, it's like the tortoise versus the hare. Sometimes you have to be slow wins the race. You're not up for that. It's okay. I'm more than impressed by Daniel Levy's model. The only sad thing is that Daniel Levy is now out of the way because he was thrown under the bus by these owners. And yet these owners are now utilising his success.
You're trying to validate his failure, and you're trying to dominate this chat by validating his failure. Your logic is, oh, because Arsenal have won more, because Man United has won more, that's why Tottenham can't win. If Glasner and Crystal Palace had your mindset, they wouldn't have won the FA Cup or the European trophy last year, because their Sean brain would say, but we can't win trophies because those clubs are bigger. That is not an argument, Sean, which is why I said apply context to your comment where you tried to justify Spurs not winning trophies under Levy because Arsenal are bigger. That's not how football works. Every club can win a trophy if they've got a plan, a strategy, and finances. And what Levy did was he had the finances because of what he and Enoch put together in terms of their building of the club. But strategy and recruitment and football, they were a disaster, Sean. And you can't own that. They were a fucking mess.
I can own that. I can own it.
Well, then that's the argument. That's been my argument why he's a shit chairman. That's why I say he's a crap chairman.
You can't own the things that he did well.
I just said to you, I give him credit for the financial stability he gave us. I give
but
credit.
You still land on the argument that he's the worst chairman since sliced bread. And I would push back and say, name me 7 better chairmen over the last 25 years in the Premier League than Daniel Levy.
On what basis? On finances? On trophies? On what?
On anything that you deem as valuable, and I'll push back on it.
For me, Sean, and this is where we differ, I don't look at this, oh, Spurs have got a 30-year project. We could be dead tomorrow, and this 30-year project means sod all to us. I live for the now. And every time I've seen in the last 25 years of Levy and Enoch, when we've been in striking distance of true glory, he never made the right decisions.
Am I right?
Except for when he didn't sack Ange. Every other time he made the wrong decision.
Still, am I right in thinking that your personal business is property management?
No. It's AI.
Well, now, but like when you were in London, did you not own, with your family, did you not own properties?
We own properties, yes.
Right. So you took out mortgages and you were renting those places out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you sit there and say that the model doesn't work when you have a 30-year plan, how can you say that with a straight face when you are participating in mortgage-based property management as a business model?
Because the sole purpose of the properties is to make money so that I can spend that money on whatever I want.
Right, but the payoff is later on, right?
No, the payoff is instant. It's constant cash flow, passive income. It's instant.
Yeah, but the real payoff is when you paid off the mortgage in 25 years, correct?
No, the real payoff is what I do with the money. And what Levy did with the money was to piss it down the drain. He fucked it. Hiring and firing managers, signing the wrong players, recruitment officers. He went through 7 football directors. 7, Sean. What Levy's biggest failure, Sean, was this?
25 years, mate. If you were to look at how many, listen, I don't know Brighton's model I know Brighton's model.
No,
right?
we don't need to do the Brighton. Sean, we don't need to do the Brighton model. Let me tell you what.
How many directors of football have Manchester United had in the last 25 years?
They won trophies. They won trophies. They can
They're
justify
the fucking
it.
biggest club in the world, bro. What are you talking
Because
about?
they win trophies. Because they focus on trophies, Sean. Daniel Levy never focused on trophies. He focused on bang for your buck.
Would you rather have the Glasners in charge, or would you rather have Enoch in charge?
I want trophies, Sean.
Would you rather have the Glasners, or would you rather have Enoch?
No. I want trophies, Sean.
Oh, that's the question. It's a fair question to ask, isn't it?
I couldn't care less.
You do care, though. You do care.
No, I don't. No, I care about Sean. Daniel Levy, his biggest mistake was this. And just hear me out on this. Just give me 1 minute. 1 minute. He had 20.
I got to leave in a little while, man. I've got to get to Tesco.
1 minute. That's all I need. He had 25 years to figure out a blueprint of a philosophy, a culture, a strategy, a manager, a recruitment officer, to build a team like Abramovich did, where he hired really top people. Abramovich knew fuck all about football, so he hired the best in class and said, right, I'm sticking with you lot. Daniel Levy's biggest mistake was he kept chopping, changing. He never saw anything through, so nothing got built. His biggest mistake.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll agree with you on that. I'll concede the fact that he chopped and changed. Right, 100%. I'm happy to. Difference between me and you, I'm happy to concede things. All right.
I conceded with you, Sean. I said that
okay, fair enough. You can see the financial thing. You can see the financial thing, but you also don't want to talk about the financial thing. It's fine. But over 25 years, it's a long fucking period of time. Roman Abramovich came in a specific circumstance, right? And he transformed Chelsea they had a fucking car park at the end of their shed end in the 90s, and suddenly they were Champions League winners or whatever about 10 years later, right? So he was a bit of an anomaly. Similar to people that point to, we go back to the youth system thing, people point to Harry Kane as the reason to believe in doing certain things, when actually Harry Kane was the exception to the rule, not the rule. And I think Abramovich was the exception to the rule, not the rule when it comes to ownership, for a multitude of reasons. One is he got in front, he was in here before the PFR, PSR and the FFP things came along. And even when he came in and that rule was implemented, he still cheated. And so anybody that points to Chelsea as a better methodology of management, I could argue with him all day long about that. If you're okay with cheating, you're okay with someone on the golf course moving their ball from the rough into the fairway and then saying he still got a birdie. To me, unimpressive when you do it that way. Regardless, and by the way, Chelsea benefited and continue to benefit from the draw of being a team that has all of those Champions Leagues and Premier League titles to their name. The brand continues despite the smudge, the black mark across their brand because of what's happened. It is what it is. It's irrelevant. Long story short, though, when it comes to Daniel Levy, you seem to resemble 25 years. You take 25 years as a period of time and go, what did he do in that period? There was periods in that time. There was 7 years, 6 years, 5, 6 years under Pochettino, where we went from like a rolling ball, right? We'd gone from Martin Jol and Harry Redknapp, and we started to get into that. And then Pochettino came along. That 10-year period from Martin Jol to Pochettino and everything in between, any Tottenham fan that wants to ignore that shit because of what happened after Pochettino, they are literally choosing and pecking and choosing when to fucking apply their distaste. For me, that 10-year period, 12-year period, when we had the Gareth Bales, we had the Luka Modrics, we had the Berbatovs, we had some of the best players in the world, we had the Harry Kanes, the Sonnies, we got to the Champions League final. If you want to ignore all of that period of unbelievable growth, optimism, plus the expectation, the excitement of moving into the new stadium, playing in Wembley, if all of that shit is for nothing, because ultimately in the last 5 years following that Champions League final, STEL, we fell off a little bit. If that's the way you want to remember Daniel Levy, then fair enough. But I choose to remember the fucking good times that we had from Martin Jol through Harry Redknapp, where we progressed every year. We got a little bit closer. We got to the promised land. Okay, we didn't quite make it. But you want to ignore all of that because you feel like Daniel Levy was this pariah, this cancer, this fucking nasty piece of work that never wanted to put his hand in his pocket. That's fine. There's a lot of merit to your argument on the specifics, but on the bigger picture, I think you're remembering Tottenham over the last 25 years in the wrong viewpoint. And I think a lot of Tottenham fans, if they think about it, they'll agree with me.
Sean, when did I become Levy out?
I don't know, mate. After Tottenham, apparently, after the Champions League final, apparently. But you talk about 25 years when you make your argument, bro. So I don't know.
Sean, I was tolerant and I gave him the benefit of the doubt and I let the club do what it had to do for 20 years. For 20 years. And when they sacked Poch and they chose to go down a different path and sabotage the club, I saw then the damage that he had just done that decision.
That's fine, but
you just went off on one for 1 minute. Let me have
fair enough.
I was not Levy out, Enoch out until 2019. So you saying there, talking about you 25 years still, it's a nonsense.
But you talk about 25 years in your argument.
Let me finish my frigging point, right? What you said was spouting an absolute nonsense. I turned Levy out when I gave up on being tolerant anymore. The next 5 years, a lot of fans began to turn as well. I compare the last 25 years because what I see now, I then look back at those years of tolerance and say to myself, why the hell was I tolerant for this shit? And I regret being tolerant because the original Enoch out and the original Levy outers, they began in Martin Joel's days. I wasn't there. I wasn't part of that.
They're donuts to do that.
But they were right because they were proven right in the end. They were proven right in the end because he's gone. He's gone. He mismanaged the money. He mismanaged the managers. He spunked 900 million down the drain. And Daniel Levy, he never had what it took for the decisions that impacted on the pitch. Off the pitch, there's an argument to say he's one of the best chairmen. On the pitch, he was a fucking disaster, Sean.
So, but you have made the argument the entire fucking evening. I've got to go in a minute because the Tesco's closes in an hour and 20 and I've got to be down to get my groceries. But you've made the argument the entire evening about 25 years. And yet when it comes down to it, when I point out the things that happened that were great and that we should all reflect on positively, you then remind everybody, I only care about the post-2021. But the entire evening, your argument has been about what happened over the last 25 years. So don't pretend like your argument is not based on 25 years. And then when I point out that bollocks, you go, no, I only care about the last 6. Because your argument is based on something different, mate. Come on now.
I just told you because you literally.
You just told me now, but in the previous last hour of our conversation, you've been talking about shit that happened long before Daniel Levy, long before fucking
You're not listening. I just said I was wrong to be tolerant for 20 years. I should never have been tolerant like that, and I should have been Enoch out and Levy out much sooner. But I was tolerant.
Well, then and you're more wrong than you could be now. So like,
my breaking point was when he sacked Poch, and from there on, it was a fucking disaster.
Yeah, and now you're saying that actually, on hindsight, I should have been out when we were going through our greatest growth. Yeah, okay.
I should have.
Listen, the audience can make up their minds. So we got to go. It's been a fantastic conversation, bro. I know it's been a heated one, mate, but I love you to pieces, bro. It's been fantastically emotive and energetic. We got some super chat. We got a lot of super chats.
Listen, mate. People in the chat. Can I just say one thing, right? I know you got these super chats. People saying, "Sean, don't let this idiot on. Stell's this, Stell's that." Say what you want about me.
It's not fun.
Well, no. Listen, let me finish. Sean went over 43,000 subs tonight. I think I kind of contribute a little bit to that, just a little bit tonight. You know, just say it. So people saying I don't bring any value to this show. I kind of helped it go over 43,000, you know? Yeah.
I think I was on 42,999 before the show started.
It's me. I subscribed.
Listen, it's good back and forth, mate. It's been a feisty show. Listen, a lot of people might not enjoy that.
It's all love, guys.
It's all love. It's all love. Spurs 6659 says, whatever we do, please don't sign Silvino. Tell is better. My man.
I can't have that chat.
Can't have that?
Can't have that chat.
Just quickly, Stel, like you wouldn't pay 80 million quid for Silvino, though, would you?
No. I don't think we should have paid the amount of money we paid for a few of the players we've signed, but it is what it is. That's the market. I think Spurs have actually created this market this year. You know that. I think we.
Yeah, I agree. I said that the other day. I completely agree. I think we set the benchmark, and Johnny was messaging me saying, I agree with what you're saying, Sean, about setting the benchmark, but unfortunately, we left the most expensive part of the recipe until the end, and now we're going to have to pay a premium. It's like, it is what it is anyway. Cowboy Spurs says STEL is a cross between Wolf from Gladiators and Marinakis. I don't know I don't know who Wolf from Gladiators is. Well, the old Gladiators Wolf. That's a compliment, mate. He was a real personality, that guy.
Thanks for the super chat. Thank you.
Big up to you, Cowboy. Mark Taylor says Levy equals fuck all trophies. Well, listen, second best trophy we've ever won under his tenure. Just saying. Big up to you, Marky. Cowboy Spurs back again saying Levy equals nothing. Does Stell's house have foundations?
Levy equals nothing. Does Stell's have foundations?
Yes, look, even his front room's got foundations. Like look at the fucking state of that back wall. It's he can't. I'm surprised he can get a fucking Wi-Fi signal with the amount of stone that's in there. It's insane.
Do you know? Actually, real talk. I can't get Wi-Fi upstairs, but I can get it
same with me. Same with me, mate.
I'm in the stone wall basement, so.
Yeah. Big up to you, Cowboy. Thank you very much. He's come back in again. Another one says, for just one super sticker, Stel could buy a calculator.
I don't need it. I've got AI, but thank you very much.
Don't trust AI too much, Stel. Don't trust it too much, mate. I figured that one. I learned that lesson. That's
because you even argue with AI. Like you argue with me, you argue with AI and Grok.
I had a fucking argument with Grok yesterday. Not Grok, with Claude. Told me he shouted at me back. He put capitals back in his request. He went, "Butler, go to bed." What an arsehole. Big up to Cowboy Spurs. Jerome 2114. Big up to you from Australia. Says Daniel Levy was a chairman not fit for the modern era of football. He got stuck with shrewd title that was given to him in early 2000, but was incapable to move the football club forward when football evolved. Jerome, I think Jerome's on your side still.
Listen, Levy's always divided fans, especially the last Levy has divided opinion for the last 4 or 5 years. Either you think, yeah, great, listen, done, great job, or you just got a real regret that he was our chairman. You sit on one or two sides of the fence, I think. I don't think there's many in the middle.
I am in the middle. I'm more than happy for people in the middle.
You lean more,
only when I'm talking. I lean more that way when I'm talking to people that lean entirely that way. But like when Connor, for example, big up to Connor if he's watching or if he hears this. But like Connor is someone that's Levy out, was always Levy out, hated Levy. But when he and I had a conversation, it was very much like we basically like just on the other side of the 50-50 divide. We could both give a little bit and take a little bit. But when I'm talking to Stel or back in the day, Brian Daigle and those sorts of people, I always felt the need to like stand up for him a little bit because I just felt like he got a bad time. Big up to you, Jerome. Thank you very much indeed. Sanilla, big up to Sanilla. He says, 2 top blokes and my favorite football content creators. Hope you are both well. Big up. By the way,
this guy,
legend.
He attended all the protests, and no matter whether you're Levy in, Levy out, he generously donates to all the channels. So big up to Sanilla.
Top guy. Yeah, he offered me tickets on my birthday. He offered me tickets to.
He's a top guy.
Really generous guy. Big up to you, Sanilla. Thank you very much, my man. Cowboys. Back in again. He says, if anyone has been affected by tonight's episode.
Me, I've been affected.
I got to go to Tesco's. You might like if I can wake my mum up and we can go to get some shopping, then you might find me like hiding in the fucking freezer, alongside the puddings. I need to cool down after that one. Big up to you, Cowboy. Thank you very much. Drewski, member for 37 months on the Spurs Talk Show. Big up to you. He said we've hit 43k subs today. Congrats. Smash like, hype, subscribe. Big up to you, Drew. Thank you very much, and to everyone that's part of the Spurs Talk Show. Thank you. Please don't forget, guys. Please do get across that. There's 670 people here, I think, still. Please do get across to Tottenham Away Ole Ole. Make sure you smash the subscribe.
By the
over
way,
there.
thank you as well, because I've gained quite a few subscribers tonight, so thank you very much as well. Appreciate that, everyone in the chat.
Luca 14 says Levy's football strategy. I have Kane and Son, therefore I can give them Gedson Fernandez, Longley, and Joe Roden. Oh yeah, here we go.
Well, it's facts, isn't it? It's like
yeah. It is a fact. It is a fact. Well, yeah, it is a fact. It is a fact.
Do you know
what,
what,
Sean? You, Luca?
Do you know what, Sean? If Tottenham didn't have a football team, Levy would go down as the greatest chairman in the history of football. He would be the greatest chairman in the history of business, maybe. If it didn't have football. If it was about everything but that, land development, shop, buildings.
It's like you make out that finishing
concerts.
Third or fourth or fifth, like 12 times in the last 15 years is irrelevant. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. Big up to you, Luca. Thank you very much. Daniel Phil with the super sticker. Choo choo to you, Daniel. Choo choo to you, bro. Appreciate you. I think that might be a super sticker from. We got to get the super sticker train going.
It's because, Sean, when he got those good positions, he didn't strike when the iron was hot. He didn't do. That was the time to do it, and he didn't. He never did it. He just kind of sat there on his laurels and like, well, this is all right, isn't it?
We just don't know. Listen, like I say, I'm more than happy to concede that Daniel Levy is not the right chairman for us for right now. For example, right? I wouldn't want Daniel if Daniel Levy and the new ENIC owners went, you know what, we're going to keep Daniel and we'll put 200 million in and everyone's happy. Do I want Daniel Levy negotiating right now? No, I'm more than happy to say he was the right. I think he was the right guy to get us to that stage. And Rome wasn't built in a day, but now we are in a position where we can take advantage. I still have some problems, by the way, with the approach that we're taking right now. I don't think it's necessarily correct to just sort of pay whatever someone wants. I don't think you can sit there and say, well done, Vinay, well done, whoever it is, Rafi Mawson, or Langer, who just pick up the phone and say, what's the asking price? Okay, we'll pay it. I don't think that's necessarily commendable. Anyone can do that. There's a middle ground. There's a middle ground between the two,
I don't rate this new structure yet. I've told you and I've told people that watch my channel. I've even been on other channels and said it. I will judge this new look ENIC 2.0 in 3-4 years' time. That's when I will know what they're really about. Now is what I've seen many times before, just actually, but spending more money than what we've done previously, and doing the business a bit earlier. But I need to see this for 3-4 years, Sean, not one window.
Listen, for me, this particular window, if it finishes as it does, it's a 6 out of 10. I don't care how you're replacing one good defender with another good defender. You brought in a free transfer, a left back that's fallen off a little bit, a goalkeeper that's irrelevant, and you brought in 2 fantastic midfielders. Superb, great. But if we don't get the midfield, the forward line fixed, then which we haven't had a chance to talk about tonight, then we're going to struggle next season. So, you can only judge the window at the end of the window, or maybe not even then. Maybe after a year. DJ Riot says Bugsy Treat Fund. Big up to me. Big up to you, DJ Riot. Appreciate you, mate. I'll go and buy a bone or something. And he's also said Sean off license fund. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you very much indeed, DJ Riot. Appreciate you, guys. Please do get over. Let me find Tottenham Away. Let me get it in the chat. If you are watching via my channel, then please do make sure you get over here, right? If not immediately, just make sure you go and subscribe to STEL. Big up to you, STEL. It's been a robust conversation, bro. I've enjoyed it, mate.
One quick question before you go.
Yeah, sure.
In the summer last year, Daniel Levy did an interview with Gary Neville, and he said, I think Neville asked him something along the lines of, do you think fans will ever appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. And he answered, when I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did he say
that? He's waiting for people like you to fucking figure it out, bro.
Okay. I'm trying to ask you a question, and you're still on the attack, right? Let me ask you the question. Fucking this guy can't help it.
It's the Magnums, mate. It's the Magnums.
Maybe I need some Magnums.
Fuck it. I'd love to see Stell on 4 Magnums.
Do you know what?
That'd be fucking. Yeah.
I'm shouty without booze, so with booze, I'll probably break the TV. No, my question is, when he said they'll realise when I'm gone, don't you think it's a bit coincidental? 2 months later, he was gone. Do you think he had an inkling that they might usher him out? Do you think that was he knew that? That's why I said it.
He's not an idiot, mate. He's a like super. I think he's probably like socially. He's probably on the spectrum. You know, like socially incapable of reading social cues.
I think we're on the spectrum. I think half the chat's on the spectrum, man.
Yeah, well, if you listen to the woke media, everyone's on the spectrum to some degree. I genuinely think that he's not like. I don't think he was fantastic social skills, but I definitely think he was a genius. You know.
So
Listen,
you think he?
You might think the guy's a bozo. I would if I could like do a deal with like rubber fucking genie's lamp or whatever. If someone could say, "Can I have 50% of his business intellect?" I would shave 5 years off my life to get that, because I think the guy is an absolute. I think he was a groundbreaker, bro. Like, and it's not even debatable, mate. Every other stadium in the world is looking to do the things that he did, and then
he's not a groundbreaker. He just copied what he saw in America.
America doesn't have the same things, mate. Like Everton have got a fucking. Have you seen Everton have got like a golf range, like a driving range off of their fucking.
There's a lot of NFL stadiums that do what Spurs are doing right now. He knew
to some
exactly.
degree. Stadium, of course, there were these concerts. Of course, there's concerts.
They went to America as part of their research for our stadium build.
Sure. Okay. Well, he's a groundbreaker in the UK, then, isn't he? Whether he's copied other people's ideas or otherwise, like playing concerts in stadiums is not exactly like beyond the realms of possibility. But how many stadiums have got like fucking flippable ground and all that shit? You know, like let's just give the guy a little bit of credit still, and I'll give you more credit.
Hold on, Shorty. The same pitch that you've done several videos about blasting for being at the centre of our injury crisis, and that I told them, I brought it to everyone's attention. They've listened to 100%.
100%. Oh, there's two different things, though. I genuinely think that the stadium, Real Madrid copied Tottenham in terms of the retractable pitch, right?
So Levy caused the injury crisis, nearly relegated us twice.
Maybe, and I said that if you actually acknowledge what I said along the way, if it turns out that Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy built a stadium that has a retractable pitch that is in some way or in any way responsible for the injuries that we've had, then it's the biggest fucking disaster that any football team has ever seen in the history of the game, right? I said that. And if that's the case, then Daniel Levy and all of Tottenham Hotspur, hang your heads in shame, because in the effort to create 300 million quid of revenue on this hand, you're essentially like ruining 600 million quid of potential revenue on the other hand. All I ever said was investigate it to make sure. And I actually called it out and said, I don't think Tottenham want to know the answer, because if they do, and the answer is bad, then they've got the biggest white elephant that's ever been built. But you know what? And funnily enough, still,
Sure, we still part 3 will definitely be going live.
But funnily enough, like 2 months ago, they said we are going to investigate the pitch.
I don't think it's the pitch.
But I don't. But it might, maybe. I've got no idea, right? But I want it investigated, if only to rule it out.
We've been playing on that pitch for 5 years before these injuries.
Fair enough, and you're probably right. They started that investigation in June, and they came to the conclusion that it wasn't a problem on July the 1st. Right, so it was a 2-week investigation. Real Madrid started their investigation in February, and they haven't finished their investigation yet. And Real Madrid and Tottenham have exactly the same fucking pitch. It's exactly the same, right? The same like segments that do this and that and the other.
Imagine Real Madrid and Spurs have 2 different reports and they conflict each other.
Yeah, I'll go fucking mental. And by the way, if that comes out, on the one hand, I'll be celebrating the fact that I called it first, but on the other hand, I'll also be having to like hold my head in shame because Daniel Levy was responsible for the fucking giant white elephant that we've created, and I'm happy to do that. I'm not embedded in an opinion. I just defend against irrational logic. Still, that's the difference between me and you.
Are you glad Levy's gone, or do you wish he stayed?
Yeah, I'm happy for him to go. I'm just not glad with the way that the history is being represented. I think it's a disgrace. I think the ENIC 2.0 is ENIC 1.0, and they are taking all of the benefit of what he built and then trying to run with it and make everybody think that these guys are somehow, are different, and they're going to get all of the credit if it all works out, and they're going to throw him under the bus in the meantime. And I think it's a fucking disgrace. It's just I think it's an utter disgrace that the way the PR is being spun. That's what I'll say.
Or they're going to expose what a disaster of a chairman he was from a footballing perspective.
Yeah, they won't do that. But if they try to do it, you'll buy into everything they say, even though you wanted those people out as well. And if that's the case, still, I'll come for you like you're coming for me, bro.
If they stick with a manager and properly back a manager, I can't criticise the owners anymore. I can't, because that's what I've always asked for. Stick with the manager and back him. Even when I wanted Frank out, even when I wanted Thomas Frank out, in the January window, I said, back him or sack him. They did neither. They didn't back him, and they sacked him in bloody March whenever they did. All I want is for an ownership to just keep one manager and just give him every possible chance to be successful. Levy never did that in my books. He never did that.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Guys, get over to Tottenham Away Ole Ole. You can see it on the screen. If you are watching on Tottenham Away Ole Ole, then come to Spurs Talk Show. It's at Spurs Talk Show. Stel, loved it, man. Great, robust conversation.
I'm knackered.
Yeah, I've got to put my head in the fucking freezer at Marks and Spencer's now. We'll do it again. We'll do Tottenham Takes 3 next time. Appreciate you all.
Just trying to cool me down for the last 2 minutes.
Put your air conditioning on. One last super chilly chit chat from Mike Oxlong, who says, I bet fake fan Stel ain't complaining about leaving now. Oh, well, listen.
Well, if I was fake, I wouldn't have spent a lot of money to go to Bilbao to cheer my team on to glory. What were you doing, mate?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, guys, appreciate everyone. I think I haven't checked the comments tonight. We haven't been putting them up, but hope everybody was well behaved. Hope nobody was banned. Hope everyone's cool. Stel, thanks, man. I enjoyed it. It's good fun.
Listen.
It's good fun, man. I fucking love these shows. I love them, mate. You love them as well, right?
This is what I was saying to you. Lions. No sheep, no lambs.
Fucking
lions.
go for it. Let's go for it. That's what we do. We'll do it again. You want to do a weekly show? We'll do a weekly show, mate. I'm up for it.
Mate,
But we can't talk about Levy every time. I mean, we've been going for 3 hours and we covered two topics.
Do you know what we should talk about? Like next show, an honest conversation about the transfer window, because there's a lack of honesty about this window going on, and people are scared to have it because they're going to be labelled negative and toxic if they have an honest chat about this window, because there's things that, it's good. It's a good window.
We'll speak offline. We'll do it on Thursday if you fancy. Listen. I think we should part the stories we've already done and pick up the next topic. Stel, you and I can always find a reason to disagree on anything. It's part of the fun.
By the way, people watching, we'll do another one. If Sean's not going live tomorrow, because if it is, then you're going to watch him. But I'm going live at 3:45 British time AM, which is actually almost 6 AM because I'm in Cyprus. I'm going to do the watch along for the game tomorrow if anyone's interested.
Yeah, I don't think, unless I wake up in the middle of the night and go, fuck it, let's do it. But if that doesn't happen, then I won't be. So go over to Stel, Tottenham Away Ole Ole. I appreciate everyone. Get over to OK Jersey, Sean 10 at checkout, gets you the shirts, go a size or two up. Appreciate you, Stel. Awesome show, man. Loved it. Even if the chat had their frustrations, it is what it is. This is what this is about. Love you. Love everyone. Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
See you later.